Now the ultimate power in the universe.
Sharing the love, spreading the light in real time. Friday night love stream.
Very happy to have a guy we instantly resonated with. Unbiased and on the fence. I'm talking about Shane C. Robinson. And his purpose is to rise above the worldviews that are designed to separate us so we can unite as one.
Sometimes you have to sort of take a step back, and I think Unbiased and on the Fence is a really, really good title for your show, because you are in the central point when you're unbiased and on the fence. That's what it means. It doesn't mean you're indecisive. It means you are taking the central point and you're seeing the multiple perspectives.
Unbiased and on the fence.
If you haven't checked Unbiased on the Fence, go and check his channel out. You might like it.
This is Dan Hofeld from Talk is Cheap, and you're listening to Unbiased and on the Fence with Shane Robinson.
If this much sincerity enters your life, come to this much. What I know, I know. What I do not know, I do not know. I don't believe anything, I don't disbelieve anything. I'm willing to look at everything. You will become a sensible human being.
Have you checked out our website?
Visit us on the web at uotf.net. You're listening to The Love Stream.
All around the world in real time.
This is Shane with Unbiased and On the Fence. You're listening to the Friday Night Love Stream on Oneness Talk Radio.
Your calls, your stories, on air. You're listening to The Love Stream.
Sharing the love and spreading the light all around the world. This is Unbiased and On the Fence.
Unbiased and On the Fence.
Well, happy 3:15 to you guys. Let's see, we've already got a caller this evening. I wanted to bring in Pira. Let me unmute you here. Let's see. Are you there?
Hey, Shane?
All right, I got you. Okay, sound's coming in good. We're all good. So, yeah, I wanted to bring you on because I was taking some of your black seed oil, and I thought it'd be interesting because you talked about it the last time you called in, and so just kind of update everybody because I've started taking it, and I've had a few like bursts of like this really excited feeling, like just energy. I wish it lasted longer. Maybe I need to up the dose a little bit, but it's still early on. You said it can take a couple of weeks before you really feel the full effect. I think I'm at like around a week right now or something.
Yeah. It really started to, like, I just woke up one morning after about a week and a half of taking it, and I felt like a kid again. Lots of energy and just light and floaty and happy and just good. Most people that I talk to, like 2 weeks is usually the mark where, they've felt something by then. So I'm so excited you're taking it.
Yeah, I'm feeling it in little bursts, like it's just breaking through or something. So I definitely feel all those things you're talking about, but it's not constant yet or anything. Yeah. It's like little taste of it though.
Right. Right.
So
that's awesome.
That's cool. So it gets more constant throughout the day where you can really just feel it in your system. Because the other thing is my schedule's so jacked up that I haven't been taking it like regularly. So sometimes I'll like remember in the middle of the day and just do it then. And then like, if I'm going to bed soon after that, I'm like, well, I just took it. So then I'll do it like when I wake up. You know what I mean? I'm horrible about being like, really on the schedule and stuff. But I've been doing the double because you can do either 1 or 2 tablespoons, right?
Yeah. It's really hard to overdose on it. You got to drink like a half gallon or something like that for it to, to overdose. But after the 2 to 3 tablespoons a day, you're pretty much just, at that point, there's not much more that it's going to do to your body. So, you might as well just limit it to the, 2 or 3 tablespoons a day. And I try to tell people, unless it's somebody who has cancer or, a major, definable health issue, to, stick to around the 2 tablespoons per day.
Right.
So, yeah.
you had told me, you can do it when you wake up, and then when you go to bed, you can do 1 or 2. So I've been like averaging once a day. So I've been doing 2 at that one time to kind of make up for, not doing it morning and night. So I'm still taking it in about the same amount a day, but it's just kind of all at one time.
Right.
I was really surprised with the smell of it, that it didn't have hardly any taste. I mean, it's almost completely tasteless. It just kind of smells like dill from dill pickles. You know what I mean? Like that. To me, anyway, it's sort of a, and everybody I had smelling, they were like, that's strong. And I'm like, does it smell like dill? And the moment I said they started smelling dill, it's funny.
It does have a very specific, I say like a flavor to it. Like you can smell it more than you can taste it. Yeah. But it's definitely something that, you get used to after. I mean, drinking oil, no matter what, what kind of oil it is going to be kind of different for everyone to acclimate to. But once you do it for a little bit, it becomes pretty easy. And I always try to explain to people, like I did with you, the best way to be able to do it, so it just washes right down and doesn't cause any issues or anything as far as the taste or flavor, consistency. But once you get that, and you can keep doing it on a daily basis, you're hopefully going to be able to feel a difference, like I said, within a 2-week period for sure. Yeah. I found that if you have been ill in the past, or like ex-smokers, things like that, they really tend to, feel the difference pretty quickly, within like, a week or week and a half or so, just because of what it's doing to your blood and, clearing out the free radicals and repairing things. You start feeling better.
Right. Now, for those watching on YouTube, they can actually go into the description, because I pasted all those links in there to look more into this.
Oh, awesome.
So yeah, all the links. She sent a bunch of helpful links, and I put them all down there on the just in the description section, so you can go look more into this. So there's a lot of science into it, I guess, huh?
Definitely. There's a great video. That's one of the things that I found. After I went through everything and found this oil, I found that video. It's by a different company, but I thought it was really cool the way that they basically took a blood test and then put it under a microscope, and there's a certified nurse going through and saying, okay, this is the first run of the blood. If you take a look at it, what I would say is this person, definitely has digestive issues. You can tell by the shape of the blood cells and, how they do or do not reflect light that, this person's probably having, some issues. And then they have them take the oil and do 3 or 4 more slides into the microscope after every like 20 minutes or something to kind of show the improvement. So you can really see what it's doing to your body, how it's clearing out the free radicals. It's reshaping the white blood cells and the red blood cells and the spacing and clearing out all the junk in between the blood. And it's a quick video. It's maybe 5 minutes long or something at the most, but it's pretty cool to see what it's actually doing to your body. And then, like, wow, this is why I feel so good. This is what it's doing for me. So, that video, I would definitely, go ahead.
I was going to say, I guess over time, it just happens so slow as you get older. You just feel like, this is just part of getting older, but you can actually reverse that. That's cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
So is there any anti-aging benefits to it?
Definitely. Well, obviously it's and I can go through all the different things that it does, but it basically has over 100 different uses. And, anti-aging, anti-inflammatory, any kind of inflammation is going to be, have aging effects on someone. But, definitely it can be used for, beauty, skin, hair, all of those things. So fine lines and wrinkles, makes your hair just beautiful and shiny and wonderful. And then when you take it internally, of course, like I was saying, there's like over 100 different uses that people can use it for. Obviously, I'm not a doctor, as well as, how they kind of try to limit what we can say about, herbs and those types of things, because we certainly wouldn't want to upset, Big Farm.
Right.
So I can't, say, it will heal this, it will heal that. But what I can say is, there are over 650 different peer-reviewed medical studies that you can find online, as well as countless articles explaining all the things that it does. So, if people have specific questions, I can certainly say, I've got clients that, have reported to me that it's doing this, or, if I was going through this, this is what I would do for myself, those types of questions and things. But yeah.
That's funny how you have to be careful with all that because, yeah.
Yeah. I know you do, yeah. Because they'll, if you put certain words or have certain phrases, won't they, block you or something?
Yeah. You can't talk about that stuff they're spraying up there in the sky. You can talk about it, but in a way that, because AI is still pretty stupid. You know what I mean? It can't think like a human and figure out I'm beating around the bush. And that when I just said what I said, I was talking about that other thing. I think it's really got a long way to go. I know a lot of people worry about it and maybe it can advance really fast, but it will just never have that level, I don't think, of, because it takes really... You know what I mean? It's it would really kind of have to really be thinking like a human to figure that out, even something like that,
Right. But it probably takes the word and all words that can be related to that word, and so you really have to.
Right, a probability thing. Yeah.
So it's kind of that same thing,
So yeah, we're definitely not making any claims. We're saying that this is something you might want to look into. That's all.
Exactly. Well, and that's one of the reasons why I'm so happy to be on your show. Before I forget, I just want to be able to say, what an honor and a privilege it is to, be on your show, and it's always exciting and fun. And, I really just wanted to take a second to tell you how much I admire and respect you and your show.
Thank you so much. I love doing it. I think it's cool. We got this little hangout,
It's awesome. And, you encourage people to be truth seekers themselves. And, you let them know that it's possible for them to, envision a different reality. And, the things that I tell my friends about, your show and you that specifically strikes me is, how you've manifested this whole thing. And, you give us all hope. You let us all know that, hey, somebody just like me, did what he believed and, is helping others. And it's just, I really respect what you've done. So thanks for having me on, and thanks for everything you're doing.
Thank you so much. And it's funny that you say that, because that wasn't my intention starting out. I didn't think anybody would ever listen, and then it's wow, there's all these other people that are free thinkers, like me. And it's I don't know, it's just really cool. And then we're not judgmental. So other people that's, they believe what they believe can still come here and not feel beat up on and stuff. That's unusual. You know what I mean? So it's cool. It's really cool that we just accept everybody how they are. And it's cool. I love the diversity,
It's awesome, and it's so great that, other people are open and come to your show. And, it's the philosophy that drive that, that you have that opens minds about seeking truth. It's one of those things that I feel in my heart, in my heart is at the basis of my black seed oil project as well, is being able to open people's minds and get them to look at health in a different way than maybe we've been, trained or, trained to not know or not listen to, or, purposefully forget that there are these things out there that source, God, whatever you want to call it, made for us to be able to heal ourselves, and that it, there are alternatives. So I really appreciate that about you and your philosophy and your beliefs and what you're doing for other people to let them know that it's okay.
Oh, I appreciate that. Yeah, it's a fun place. And you actually, tell us about your location, because you're in this energy vortex. For those who, I'm sure a lot of people always talk about you. So some people heard it before, but we've always got new people listening. And so tell us about that energy vortex and the mountain and all that, because that's interesting.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Not very many people know about it. And I, in fact, didn't even know about it until after I moved here. And I was kind of led here by the dragonfly, which hence is, the name for my oil as well. But yeah, this area is basically kind of looks like a big wagon wheel with spokes from it that are the ley lines. And all of these ley lines, like the same ley lines that intersect with the Great Pyramids and with the Vatican. And, if you do your research, there are all these powerful places on these energy nodes or ley lines, and there's a reason why they're there, obviously. But these spokes of the wheel all come to a center at Pilot Mountain in North Carolina, where I'm at. So it's one of the most powerful vortices, I guess you call it, vortexes in the continental United States. Everyone talks and mentions Sedona, which is a wonderful, powerful place. Don't get me wrong. But the way that this area intersects with all those other power points, I think it's got to be, pretty close to what Sedona is as far as the energy and the power. And my house is right at the base. So basically, there's a vortex to my north, and I'm right in between two ley lines. And then my house is on top of a giant granite boulder, so that's full of quartz crystal. And so the energy here and the crazy things that have happened, like I could just go on and on and on and on about this place. There's just so much power. So it's also where the oil is made.
Where the what is made?
The oil is made here. So not only are they getting the benefits of, all of the phytochemicals and things that, that the myoquinone and nigellone and all of those things that are only found in the black seed, but also, I'm giving the oil my pure intentions and love and light, and it's being done in one of the most powerful, vortex and ley lines, within the continental U.S. at least. So all of that goes into the oil, which is pretty cool and powerful.
Oh, wow. That's amazing. Yeah, it seems to me I saw a map not too long ago. Well, it might have been a few years, but it was like showing the chakras on the earth, like energy. And it seems to me there was one like in the Sedona area and then one out to the east, somewhere in the mountains out that way. Yep.
So that's this one. And if you actually look at photos of the mountain, it's so old, it's actually exposed, kind of like Ayers Rock, at the top. And so the way that you would normally look at a mountain, it's all gone, and there's just this big, what do they call it? It's like I don't know. Anyway, there's this big knob at the top, and it's very sacred, very old, all kinds of neat old Native American stories. In fact, they say that the Sora Indians, which are from this area, say that the 30-mile radius from the mountain is so powerful and so sacred, you shouldn't wear shoes. To me, it almost kind of talks about like the grounding effects that you get, which I can kind of attest for. But there's so much energy here, that it's incredible. It's such a neat place.
That's really wild, because I often think of that and wonder if that had something to do with, when Moses went up to get the 10 Commandments or whatever, and he had to take his shoes off. If it was something more, if it could be something more like what you're talking about, like whatever the ship was or something, they had to be grounded around the person or something, or they, you know what I mean? I mean, it could be totally viewed like a different way, you know what I'm saying, than traditionally.
Yeah, no, I'd never thought about that before. I bet you're right. You're right.
That's wild.
No?
They didn't want to zap them or something.
Yeah. Well, we got to connect those dots. You're right. In the technology, we have no idea what they had then versus, whatever, reverse, technology and all that stuff that we, whatever. But grounding is so important. And, grounding can go back to, like I was saying, the Native Americans say, it's so holy, you should not wear shoes. Well, I think maybe that's because the energy is so strong out of respect and out of wanting to be able to benefit and share with Gaia and all of those things, that, it would be kind of a sin to not give yourself that and not be able to give yourself back to the earth in that way.
Well, when you think about it, think about how much we do separate these days with the earth, but how much we're just really always touching it. So even if you're walking or whatever, you always usually have, unless you're running and jumping, you're just always touching it, And it seems like you're sort of like a moving plant, what I mean? It's like just being grounded and connected the whole time. We just view it like gravity, but maybe it is that connection itself that pulls us down, That's wild to think about.
Well, and then you think about things like, the rubber on your tires, the rubber on your shoes. If there's a lightning storm, doesn't the rubber kind of like block the way that the electricity can interact with you so that you don't get electrocuted, you don't get shocked to those types of things? And so I'm kind of wondering with that correlation, you don't want to wear shoes because it's keeping you from being able to absorb the energy the way that you're supposed to. Does that make sense?
Oh, totally, yeah. That's amazing to think about. Because then I think about, old forms of transportation like animals, and, they'd still be grounded through the animal. And, I was really thinking about how over all these centuries, how we've slowly moved off of the earth in a way, whether it's rubber shoes or, an automobile, like what you're saying. That's wild.
Yeah, like through cars, like separating. Everything is to separate us from our connection to each other as well as to the planet. So,
they got these grounding sheets you can get for your bed where you plug them in the outlet and the whole time.
Oh my gosh, yes.
You've heard of those? I've been seriously considering one of those. Yeah.
Yeah, we actually there's a mat that you can get from one of the same main companies that you put underneath your desk or on your lap if you've got your laptop there, and it helps to ground as well. And they are amazing. So yeah, the sheets are definitely on the top of my list.
Yeah. Plus you're there like a third of the day, or a good part of the day anyway,
Right.
Just laying around it. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got those a while back. I got those bands that electricians wear when they're working on really fine electronics to ground them. It's like a grounding strap you put around your arm. And I had rigged that up, but then I found out it was it had a loose connection on. So I guess I need to get a better pair of those straps or something. But I was trying to, sitting at my computer, I thought, well, I could be grounded half the day while I'm just sitting there. I could just, I won't even notice it. It's got a little coily wire you just clamp it on something that's ground, And
I've never heard of those.
Yeah, and they were a couple of bucks, but I guess I should have bought the more expensive ones or something. Quit working right away. I did an ohm test on it, and it was man, it's not even really connected to my arm. So anyway, yeah, I need to revisit that. I get so caught up with other things, I forget,
Well, you're so busy.
I know, it's great. Jumping all over the place. Yeah. It is busy sometimes.
You've got more shows, and now you're on the Oneness network, and I'm sure that's changed things. Congratulations about that, by the way.
Oh no, I'm honored that they let me come on there with them, so that's cool. I appreciate that.
That's really cool. Oh, I mean, you've been doing this a year, a little over a year. How long have you been doing the show?
Yeah, about a year. On the channel itself was February of 2017, but this actual call-in show and stuff is really pretty new. It's a year old or something.
And so you're already now excuse me, I was trying to learn a little bit more about all of it, but so are you syndicated now? Is that what that means? Or
yeah,
I'm not.
Yeah,
so cool.
Yeah, for those that are on the Oneness Talk Radio to listen to their other favorite people or whatever, they might see it on the schedule and then hop in and listen from that direction. So that's sort of the idea. And then at the same time, it's we get to kind of share our audience, because other people that will listen to me on there might check out some of the other people on the channel. So it's a way for us to connect to people that we might not know about and stuff. So I think it's really cool in that respect too.
That's awesome. And is it more of a co-op that everybody's on it has kind of a,
yeah.
I know.
Exactly. On my page, I get my own show page, my own personal page or whatever. And then you can put a few ads if you want on the side, if you get any supporters that want to support that way. So I get that out of it, although I just have my YouTube and my website, and I didn't really use it for ads. I have BQH there too as well to do that, but that is really just all I get out of it. It's cool though, because I'll get other listeners, so that's it'll work out that way.
Yeah, that's awesome. That is so cool. Well, congratulations.
Thanks. Yeah, it's just brand new. I think they started at the end of last year or something. They went online, so it's kind of like an iHeartRadio type platform for just internet
now,
radio.
Did Sri and Kira start that, or how did it come about?
I think it was Sri and Kira, and then the Twin Flame Divine Fire Radio, Alan and Sandra. I think they kind of got together and got it all going. That was the main people. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Okay. I was trying to figure that out. There's not a wiki about it yet. I just figured I'd ask you.
Yeah, it's real interesting how all this works and stuff, and it's I don't know. It's been a cool experience to play around with it, you know. I never thought I'd do something like this, you know. I always thought it'd be cool,
right?
But never really saw myself here doing it. It's pretty cool, though.
But I've heard you say several times that you're happier than you've ever been.
I really am, yeah. I get happier all the time. You realize, you know, because, I don't know, I had all these good times in a band, and I didn't really enjoy it at the time, and I'm just learning to enjoy things in the now instead of regretting not enjoying it later, you know.
Right.
And it does make life a lot happier when you live like that, you know. Because we don't have a lot to gripe about. You know what I mean? We really don't. I mean, we do. We'll like obsess over a bill and stuff like that. But, you know, you really don't have to. If there's nothing you can do, you know. If there's nothing you can do about it, just not worry about it until you have to worry about it, you know. So
that's what I've been trying to do a lot lately as well. Because I'm trying to like learn how to multidimensionally shift or shift to other dimensions.
Right.
And so one of the things I'm trying to learn is to separate myself from, you know, those events that maybe don't line up with where I want to be, and just try to like picture myself as, okay, I'm a bystander here. This isn't happening to me. I'm just watching, you know, these events happen, instead of getting all, I mean, of course, sometimes I still get worked up, but you know, instead of getting all into the moment where it's all about your ego and all of those things, and trying to be like, well, I'm mad about this, and this person shouldn't have whatever, or, you know, this bill, whatever it was, not letting it affect you that way. And I hear you talk about that a lot. So there's definitely something to it. That's for sure.
Yeah, I think it's exciting times we live in. I really do. Just keeping an eye on everything.
Definitely.
Well, what do you think about, if that's such a high energy area? We've talked, I think we mentioned it before, you having some kind of thing out in your area or something, maybe. I don't know, is there parks around there or anything? That'd be cool.
There are some cool parks. I'm also like about a quarter of a mile below me is the Yadkin River. And I believe that has tributaries. I could be wrong, but I believe that the New River, which is actually, I believe, the third oldest river in the world, feeds into the one right below my house as well. And so the Yadkin out here, it's a big wine area. So there's like 120 different wineries around here in the mountains, as well as like outdoor stuff, you know, canoeing, kayaking, those types of things. And there's some neat little parks peppered around. So there could be some, you know, cool places to set up an event that certainly, you know, would be private and personal. And, you know, 40 or 50 people came to, you know, enjoy the area. I think that it would be doable out here for sure.
Oh, that's cool. Because I know there's a lot of people over on the East Coast that, you know, is within a drive probably. Right.
Oh, and this is the place. I mean, there's nowhere else like this on the East Coast, that's for sure. But it's all very, you know, I'm trying to think of the right words for it. Very conservative area. And so the people around here don't really know what's around them, or, you know, I don't know how to explain it, but
I get what you're saying. Yeah.
It's like the lack of culture is the culture here, and not to offend anyone. It's very easygoing, and I love where I live, and I love the people because they're just easy and laid back and all of that. But it's not like Sedona, where, you know, everyone's an energy practitioner and, you know, all the stuff that goes along with that. It's very different than that. Don't I don't want anybody to have these expectations, you know, that they're going to come in and they're going to have all these fillers and get readings and all of the fun stuff. No.
But that's cool, though, because it's like, I couldn't believe how much Sedona is a tourist town. And it's like, you know, I don't know. It was just crazy, you know, I couldn't believe the traffic and just so many people there.
But, you know, some of the cool, I don't know if you're familiar at all. Have you heard of Asheville, North Carolina at all?
Sounds familiar. I've never been there or anything that I know of. I think I went to PTL. Isn't that South Carolina?
What is it?
PTL, Charlotte, I think it was.
Oh, you know, well, yeah.
With Jim Baker way back in the day, we went to that place. That was pretty cool. It was called PTL. He was the televangelist or whatever, but he had like this huge Wonderland kind of place in Charlotte. So I think that's as far as I've been.
That makes sense. I lived in Charlotte for 15 years before I moved out here, and I know that it's a big, like, Billy Graham area. I do know that there's a library and, you know, his homestead, I guess you call it his, I don't know, whatever, his mansion, whatever. And I think it is a big area for, you know, like you were saying, like televangelists and things like that. So Charlotte is about an hour and a half away, at most, maybe an hour and 15 minutes. And then Asheville is like the Sedona of the East. That's about just close to 2 hours away. But we're obviously on the same ley lines and those types of things out here. It's just they're a little
that's the tourist town everybody knows about, though. It sounds like.
Well, yeah, it's like Sedona, where it's like metaphysical heaven, you know, or all the shops and, you know, the foods and everything you know come in contact with is all about, you know, metaphysical stuff. So that's kind of cool that there are those people and there are those things that I can get to if I want to or need to. But otherwise, it's like it's pure country out here. You know, it's unadulterated except for a few farms here or there that have probably been here for hundreds of years since the families, you know, came over on the ship and set up their homes. I've met people where they've started like remodeling their home on their property that's like always been their family's property, and then they'll find the original log cabin that was just hidden within the walls of a room that, you know, they didn't even know was there because they just built around it. Stuff like that happens around. Just like,
that's, you know, so cool.
Yeah, the families have just been here for generations and generations, and you know, so it's really untouched and just beautiful, beautiful area.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's awesome. All right, well, I do want to, can you give your email address out so anybody interested in contacting you from the Oneness Talk Radio end of things?
Sure. Yeah, so, well, actually the best place to find out about me and the oil, and certainly if anybody has any questions, they can, you know, chime in and let me know, or, you know, reach out to me. But my Facebook page, which is Dragonfly Black Seed Oil, they can probably go and search, and it's just got a big, like, hand-painted dragonfly on it that they can, you know, find and reach out to me that way. But my email address is dragonflyblackseedoil@gmail.com.
That's perfect.
So that's a pretty easy one. Yeah.
Some people don't do the Facebook thing, I found. Quite a few people don't.
Yeah. But it's an easy place to be able to go and make posts about, you know, I've got clients, like a lot of clients come to me and say, you know, I just wanted to let you know I've been on statins for 8 years for my high blood pressure, and, you know, I've been taking this oil for a month and it's dropped my levels, you know, 30 points, or, you know, things like that. So I'd like to be able to go on to a place where I can kind of post things like that, or articles, or because people don't, you know, we all have busy lives. We don't want to go out and research this mysterious thing that we've never heard of. Yeah. And, you know, even if we do that, we want to know people that have had that experience and can say, okay, yeah, this is going to work. And so, you know, it is a good place to be able to go and you know, find the information or the videos or those things, or get my contact to be able to ask and say, okay, I've got this issue. What would you do if you were me and had this issue? Or, you know, what information do you have for me? So I like to be able to, you know, put it on a place where people can reach out and find the information easily. But emailing me is great.
I think you're right. The Facebook is perfect for stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but yeah, I just noticed people, you know, some people are like, I've never got it or whatever. Now I've noticed it comes pre-installed on your phone. It's like, what the heck? If I really need to go there, I'll go through a browser. I don't want the app on there, but you just have to disable it now. You can't even it's been like that since I got my phone a couple of years ago. So it's like integrated
Yeah,
into
it's just automatic.
You know?
Yeah, that's kind of creepy. It's kind of
creepy.
It
is, isn't it?
But, you know, and then, of course, if you say anything, do anything, then all of a sudden it pops up on your Facebook page. Like, that's what I don't like. I don't need, like, something listening in to what I'm saying and then showing me ads. That creeps me out. But what are you going to do, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But, you know, the cool things, you know, about the black seed oil is, you know, so many people that your listeners probably have heard of, like Dr. Axe or Wellness Mama, or, you know, they can go and research what they have to say about it. You know, when I started this, like basically January of 2015, it was such a search. Like I really was searching and looking and trying to find things that, you know, after my breast cancer and going through all of that, you know, the next question was, well, how do I make sure I don't get this stuff back? You know, and it was this really obscure thing that I found about black seed oil and just kind of went for it and tried it. And like I said, like within a week and a half, I just had these amazing benefits and fell in love and just kind of knew that, you know, hey, I can help people heal themselves. I can help people empower themselves and get them to think and to know that, you know, not only with this wonderful thing that God or source or whatever you want to call it gave to us to be able to heal ourselves, you know, not only is it that, but it's, you know, kind of from the epigenetic end, how we believe, you know, and the you know, being able to empower ourselves to heal ourselves is so important. So I want to be able to help people do that. You know, for me, it's a label of love. I really don't make money, really, you know, not much at all. It's really just kind of letting people know that there's, you know, an alternative out there, that it's, you know, they can do this, not only with black seed, but with a bunch of other things that are out there that, you know, can make them feel better and help them heal. And, you know, they're not always getting the best advice from individuals that are trained to prescribe a chemical prescription rather than looking for, you know, what we were given here to heal ourselves by God, you know? Does that make sense?
Oh, totally. Yeah. Were you able to hear Carrie Camp's story when she called in, or did you miss that one?
It sounds familiar. She
was the lady
herself
from cancer. Yeah, she was supposed to be dead back in December. You know, she had 1 to 2 years, and that was in December of last year. And she didn't take the, you know, the chemical route, the chemo or the radiation, and that's one of the things she was working on trying to change is, you know, getting, because you're considered non-compliant if you don't take those routes. They don't pay anything.
I did hear that, and that is so true, and it's so scary because from the moment you're diagnosed with anything, it's like all of a sudden you're ushered through this conveyor belt of, okay, here's how it's going to go, here's what's going to happen, don't ask questions, don't ask what it's going to do to you, don't ask what's going to happen to you in the future. You know, we can kind of tell you here or there, but because we don't want to be responsible, we're really not going to say anything about any of this stuff, and you just kind of feel like a name and a serial number. And, you know, that's kind of one of the reasons why I as well wanted to kind of look into alternative measures. I was not happy with my experience going through cancer and how I was treated. And, you know, the whole thing, quite frankly, was, you know, distasteful to me. I feel like, you know, if you have a trauma, if you get into a car wreck or something like that, like, man, those doctors are fantastic and they've got the technology to be able to, you know, do the surgery and help you get better. But when it comes to things like cancer or high blood pressure, all of those things, they're not trying to cure you. You know what I mean?
Oh, totally. I completely agree with you. That's why I thought it wasn't too unreasonable. And, you know, I got to thinking about it with Carrie because she was trying to get it to where they would at least have an alternative where your insurance would help pay for it. And I thought, you know, it's not too unreasonable for the way, if you don't want your kid to go to public school, you can get like a school voucher or something like that where she can at least cover some of those funds. I mean, the money that for the people that want to take that route, they only gave them 80%. At least they're saving 20%, you know, instead of forcing people, you know, because that would be a lot of money if they went the route they want them to go, you know. So I don't know. I think that's a congressman type thing. Everything's so compartmentalized. It seems like it would be hard to get something like that done, and except for to go to somebody in politics that can pass a bill or something. You know, I don't know.
All right. Well, I mean, even modern medicine is compartmentalized. Like I was just having a conversation with my partner the other day. Who's going through some health things, and it's like, you know, you've got to go to this doctor for this and have them do a scan, and then you've got to go to another doctor for this and another doctor for this, and it's kind of like, you know, what if this were with your car and you were to go to the auto shop and you were to be like, okay, well, first you have to go to the engine guy and have them look at it, and then we're going to schedule an appointment for 2 weeks down the road and we're going to have you go see the, I don't know car parts very well, but you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Then we're going to check the frame of your car.
Right.
And then, 2 months later is the first available appointment we have for, well, I mean, come on, that would be unheard of if it was for your car, but that happens. I mean, that's pretty much how it is nowadays for your medical doctor. To even come to, hey, this is what you have,
Yeah.
What is that about? What is that
that's
about?
crazy.
People
yeah.
They're talking. The different doctors and physicians and things aren't talking, and there's no follow-up. And really, I mean, in my mind's eye, what it comes down to is, how do we sell this prescription drug? How do we get you hooked?
Yeah.
That's just my personal experience. But there's got to be a better way.
Yeah.
And people have to start asking themselves why it's that way, and how can they protect themselves? And it's always, no matter what the case is, if it's your health, if it's your religion, if it's just learning in general, people have to get curious. They have to ask themselves, why is this being done this way? And how can I figure out how to do it my way that's going to make me happy and it's going to benefit myself, and maybe I can help some other people with that knowledge, right?
Totally. Yeah, and Ronnie in VA is saying, after seeing what her sister went through with her cancer treatment, she hasn't even been back to the doctor after all that. And and I'm the same way. I don't go to the doctor anymore. I just haven't had a good experience. Now that I'm looking at it from a different perspective, I'm like, wow, that was not something I want to go to. Unless I break a leg or something, I'm not going to the doctor.
Exactly. Right. Unless it's like a trauma, they're great at that.
Totally. I'm in a wreck or something. Go ahead and take me there and get me patched up. But that's about it.
Well, Shane, it never made sense to me, like, especially going through something like cancer, like, it just wasn't logical. Why do you want to poison my whole body to the point where, I almost die or could die, all my hair falls out, all of that stuff. Why would you poison someone to make them better? It does not make sense. It's counterintuitive.
It's clear that it's a for-profit, like T. Taylor saying, for-profit system, It's clear. I mean, it's like you're a commodity at that point.
Yep.
Crazy.
And you don't want to become a number. And so all I'm trying to do by coming on today is saying, hey, I had this experience where I've learned to heal myself, where I've learned to get healthier and stronger. And even the mental aspect of bringing myself that own knowledge has empowered me in ways where I have created a positive impact on my own life as well as the lives of the others. And, we all need to start asking questions. Why is it this way? Just like she was saying, it's for profit. And, we have to stop being tools to, let these big companies, these big names profit off of our lives and off of our lack of knowledge about things. And I know that it's difficult to learn everything, but we have to come at it from the perspective of learning, right?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Knowledge is power.
Yeah, we've never really ever had a time like this where you can actually go and find so much great information. I mean, you still have to be leery, but there's so much information at our fingertips that we can look up anything these days and get enough people there that you can tell. That's why I like review systems and things like that, because sure, they might have had a few plants in there, but overall, it's, you get to hear what people think about stuff and get an actual real opinion. It's really nice.
Well, and I think that that's how we're going to be able to move into 5D, don't you? And kind of empower ourselves from, I don't know, what do you want to call the cabal or, whatever that stuff is. But I mean, this knowledge, this power, this being able to come together, this being able to, become one is huge. All of us talking and discussing and, not listening to the propaganda about these people are bad and this is bad and this is how you should separate yourself. We're all learning to come together and to realize that, together we have power. Together we can make a difference. And that's why when you see news and you hear all this fear stuff, it's all to keep us separate and angry about, what the other person is doing. And it's just kind of all made up stuff. We've got power now to be able to, discuss things with each other and figure out what we think is good and right,
Yeah, totally. Yeah, and I like it that the small groups like this, because you can trust it's not like a commercial, you know, because I can imagine there's a level of infiltration into health pills and things like that too, you know. So I think it's cool that meeting in small groups like this, we can pass along information. So I think that's awesome.
Right. No, your show is awesome, and shows, you know, like this where people can talk and can, you know, give and receive new ideas. I mean, that's what it's all about. It's so important. I love what you're doing. I love it. I love it.
I appreciate it. So what's the weather been like there now at the mountain? We got like 10 minutes left, nobody in the queue. Can you stick around to the break and chat with me?
Yeah, for sure. So it's been nice. It's been raining a lot out here, but we've had, you know, a nice couple of days where it's into the 60s. I think it was almost 70 today. We grilled out for the first time last night, and I'm not sure if you remember, but I've got this great big sunroom, and it's kind of like a snow globe, so it's windows from floor to ceiling on all the sides. So we got to open up all the sliding doors and, you know, have the grill out and just play music and, you know, enjoy the energy and the beauty out here and listen to the animals outside. Like, there's really, you know, it's pitch black. The stars are amazing out here. You know, you hear the occasional car go by from the road, you know, up the street, but really it's just like frogs. The frogs are out at the lake down in the trees. There's this lake. Apparently this particular area that I'm in, way back in the day, there was a railroad coming through, and like the original families are all here. And to set up the railroad, they would bring in dynamite, you know, to like blast the area to bring the rails in. So this guy who's from this area had all this extra dynamite. And so what he would do is, like, to his friends, and I don't know how exactly it went, but he would blow up these big areas to create lakes all around here. So there are all these dynamite lakes hidden in the woods.
Wow.
So, yeah, so it's kind of a cool little, you know, like natural area, you know, 100 years later or whatever, since when he started doing all this. So just right behind me through the woods, there's this great little pond, and all the frogs and creatures have all woken up, and they're loud and chirping, and all the excitement's happening for spring. So that's kind of a cool, neat thing out here.
Yeah, I got to go out the other day and like just hang out outside again. It was great without having to drive very far to get to nice weather.
What's the temperature in Tulsa right now?
It kind of got cold again, but it got up to like 70 the other day. I think we're probably in like the 50s or something right now. So it's not horrible.
And are you guys getting a lot of rain?
Yeah, and then, it's 53 right now. We're, let me see if it's raining. No, it's a clear sky tonight. But yeah, it's been off and on raining. And I don't think it's raining in a couple days though. But it was really cloudy and windy, and but I love the wind in the sky. It makes it beautiful, except for recording video. It's like really loud on the microphone, you know. But I was just recording the sky anyway. So
I love the wind too. I just was outside right before the show taking pictures. There was such a neat sunset tonight. Did you get a chance to see yours?
No, I sure didn't. I was getting ready for the show and I missed it.
Aww. Well, it was beautiful here, but that's one of those things, like one of those little magical things about being here. Like my awakening when I moved out here in 2016, from 2016 to 2017, like, oh my gosh, I had so many crazy, awesome, wonderful things happen out here that there were such gifts. Like within a month and almost a month and 3/4 period of time, I had 17 rainbows in the same location. So it was basically, I was averaging like 4 rainbows in the same spot per week, which is just weird.
That's cool.
Yeah, and and the sunsets out here, I get like tons of sun dogs. Do you know what those are? I bet you do.
Oh yeah. Yeah, we get those too. They're really faint here though. It's like I really got to try to point them out to people, but you'll see a little bitty rainbow instead of it being a big halo. Sometimes it's like that, but most of the time it's really mild, and you can just kind of spot maybe one of the 3 or 9 o'clock position parts of it looking like a rainbow in the sky.
Yeah, that's what, we get that a lot out here too. So, lots of really cool sunsets and like bright reds and purples, and just, there's something different here with the energy than other places. I grew up in the Midwest, and, you know, obviously like great tornadoes, great thunderstorms and things like that. But the colors out here, like there's something with the energy and the colors for the weather. It's pretty cool.
I wanted to ask you before we run out of time, if we still got like 6 minutes, but I wanted to ask you about kind of strange things happening with the black seed oil, like paranormal things, like seeing more orbs or dreams being more intense and stuff. I didn't know if it was the energies or the black seed oil doing that, or.
I wish I knew, Shane. I mean, I know that recently, like one of the links that I sent you talked about that black seed oil helps open the pineal gland, which I do believe, you know, it definitely has, you know, those abilities because of the way that you can kind of scientifically look at how it's, you know, clearing out your body and probably clearing out the fluoride and all of those things. But so I think that it definitely has an effect to be able to help in that way. However, I also believe that for me, because of the way that, you know, I was led to this area and then the things that I experienced, I honestly can't say how much was black seed and then how much was just the energy source and what was meant for me to be here. Like, I get knowings, I see orbs, you know, all of the things that you would expect.
It's probably all connected, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's probably some of both, you know?
Yeah, yeah, that's what I think. I think that it was, it's a mixture. The one thing that I do know is it's been such, I mean, I talk to other people who are starting to wake up now, and it's like, oh, yeah, I remember when that started to happen. Like, okay, look out for this and look out for that. And for me, it was just such an experience before I knew anyone else having these things that I really don't know how to say, oh, it's definitely the black seed, or, oh, it's because I'm living here. And, you know, who knows why it all happened the way that it did. But
that's cool to see how it all unfolded, though, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, it's been amazing. I've come to the conclusion now that, you know, obviously I'm a light worker, but I think I was also drawn to this area to be a grid worker where, you know, my positivity and my love and, you know, light that I can bring and my gratitude goes directly to the fact that I'm right by that vortex on 2 ley lines, and this positivity that I'm working on for myself is also feeding, you know, not only this world and this dimension, but probably multiple dimensions on, you know, grids and ley lines and things that we don't even understand the concepts behind. You know, and I also believe that I'm in some way, shape, or form, although I can't claim it, you know, online, but I feel like I'm a healer. Maybe I was a shaman in a past life or something. There's a reason, you know, why I am the way that I am and why I was brought here, just like we all have those things. And that's one of the most interesting parts of the awakening, you know, and the gifts that we're given.
That's what's so cool, because I think as we come together, we're going to realize that certain aspects might be easier for certain individuals, but it will still build the faith of the group to realize that, oh, wow, you know, I can do that too, you know?
Right. Like you might be an energy worker and other people may be empaths and other people may be great with cards and, you know, being able to, you know, help people in a positive direction and make decisions. And we all have our part, you know, but one thing that I know that I'm sure you know is, you know, I wasn't put here on this planet to work for, you know, X corporation from 9 to 5, you know. We all have talents that we've got to find and use, and that's what this time is about for all of us, don't you think?
Oh, totally. Yeah, I totally agree. And I've always been like that. Like I started my own painting business. I'm like, hey, I could just put an ad out and go paint for people. And then after a while, I started getting all this word of mouth business. And I was like, wow, this is like really blowing up into something. Then I had to hire like my best friend to come help me. And so it's weird that like I've always been that way, you know, just be my own boss and not really work for anybody. But I did for a while. I went and worked for a painting company and it was so easy. I was like, oh, it's so nice just working, you know, from 7 to 3 or whatever it was, and just being done with it, not having to go do a bid and all that. So you actually appreciate, you know, it was a small company though. It wasn't the corporate thing like you're talking about, you know.
Right. Oh, good. But you know, that kind of ease, although it's fantastic and it feels good and all of that, it kind of equivocates like being in 3D, you know, and being in that world where it's like, I don't have to think about it. It feels comfortable. You know, you watch The Matrix, but I love my steak. I love my, you know, all of those things are so comforting to not have to ask or, you know, question or feel the pressures of any of it. But, you know, once you wake up, you can't go back there anymore, you know. I'm sure you couldn't, you know, having this show and all the things that you've learned and you know, connected with, you probably couldn't go back to a painting, you know, gig like that.
No way.
Right?
No, that's so true. Yeah, that sounds so crazy and so far removed from who I am now.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess I got that to fall back on, but I don't plan on moving that direction, that's for sure.
Well, and you know, I mean, everybody who listens to you knows that, and I mean, you are so good at manifesting. It's you know, just like you were saying about your painting business. You're like, this would be cool, I'll do it, and then all of a sudden, it, you know, it was really easy, and it came to you, and you know, like the show. I know you put in a ton of work that nobody hears, sees, or knows about, but it's the fact that it's like you're undying. Like, hey, I know it's going to work out. It's not going to faze me, you know.
Yeah.
And here you are, a year later, and it's like, you know, you're one of the top shows out there on these topics for, you know, our type of group. I don't know how to, you know,
that's
awaken
awesome.
People. What do you call us? But like, that's so cool how you manifest these things.
Are you going to be able to cross the country to come to East City by any chance, or is that?
Oh my gosh, I want to.
About 20 seconds left. You don't know if you want to?
Oh, I definitely want to. I don't know if I'm going to be able to at this point. Where is it exactly at?
It's in Washington by Mount Adams.
Oh, very cool. What's the date?
We're still trying to get the date. It's going to be the first or second weekend in August, hopefully. Okay, I'm actually...
that's right. My birthday time.
Thank you so much for calling in. I really appreciate chatting with you.
Well, thank you for having me. And if anybody has any questions about dragonfly oil, my email will be, I guess, on the bottom of the show in the comments.
Yeah, it's down below.
Do you have a product? Do you have a product or service? Oneness Talk Radio is your unique opportunity to reach a responsive audience. Marketing budgets need to show value. As a community of positive intent and commitment to planetary evolution. Sponsorship of Oneness Talk Radio makes perfect sense. Our current sponsors are enjoying positive returns and increased customer flow. Lasers is one of those sponsors, and here is the owner sharing from Divine Fire.
The interest level definitely increased. Acquiring devices are quite satisfied. And we're back from as well that are happy.
Imagine the expansion you can enjoy as a sponsor of a single show or the entire network. Discover how you can honestly stretch the value of your advertising dollars with our affordable rates and worldwide audience.
Just send an email to otr@onenesstalkradio.com today.
Oneness Talk Radio. Fresh and fun. Discover your positivity portal 24/7 and experience talk radio from around the planet. Perfectly mixed with music that enchants your soul. At a moment where everyone is being challenged to stay awake and Oneness Talk Radio. Here to remind us all of our divine mastery. Imagine activating power of oneness and universal healing available at any time with shows in multiple languages, formats, and explore. Our commitment to uplifting superstars and fresh talent, combined with your favorite shows, will inspire you to stay all day and soak in the gift of connection. Once you experience our signature oneness moment, in only 3 to 5 minutes, your heart will expand as miracles unfold. OnenessTalkRadio.com. One world, one voice. Expand your vision. Hi, I'm Alan.
And I'm Sandra.
Together, we host Twin Flame Divine Fire every Saturday afternoon from 2 to 4 Pacific.
Our journey started with the discovery that we were twin flames, but it's become much, much more than that.
It has been said that there are many paths to ascend the mountain, and that's what we offer you each and every week. We feature spiritual teachers, authors, and musicians.
We also bring you everyday people that have come to the realization that life isn't quite what it appears to be.
We know deep within ourselves that we've chosen to be on this planet at this time to assist humanity to remember who we truly are.
No matter where you are on the journey, it's our desire to give you the tools for your self-ascension with informative guests and a lot of laughter.
So join Sandra and me every Saturday afternoon, 2 to 4 Pacific on Twin Flame Divine Fire, right here on Oneness Talk Radio.
This station is now the ultimate power in the universe.
We are back. Sorry, still got the name up there. Alrighty, you guys. Phone lines are open. Put it on the screen in case you're calling internationally. So, what did you guys... Were you guys able to catch that last video I put out? That super consciousness video? I thought that was like one of the coolest experiences ever. Really, it's at the top of the list of how cool that experience was. So, just to have that conversation, and it's just powerful. And to really experience firsthand how it was real and it wasn't, just the person's imagination when they can't remember it. Now, that's really a rare thing. The whole somnambulistic level is super rare. But it does happen, and I think I would think, more awakened people might be able to do it a little bit more easily. I don't know if they're able to relax a little bit more. I'm not really sure what the mechanism is that makes someone be able to go deeper. But when it happens, it's really, really cool. Let's see here. I want to wait for a caller. And I'm going to play a little bit to set the mood, Wingmaker's material.
What do? Hey, it's Sherry. What you doing? Oh, well, actually, I had something to say. So, okay, not this Monday, but next Monday on the show is Todd Akamesis. I don't want to say his name wrong, but it's Todd, like Todd, and then Akamesis, and that's the YouTube channel name.
Yeah.
And if y'all type that in on the YouTube thing, they have this this meditation that's like for out of body experiences. And I had put it on today whenever I was sleeping. I had worked last night. I'm gonna tell you that thing is crazy. It like works. So y'all should check it out. It's really interesting. Like, I mean, I was like falling asleep and stuff, and you gotta try to stay awake. But I was having all kind of things happen. Like I was feeling like, you know, my limbs would lift out and then go back in, and like my head. It's really, he's really. I don't know if it's I don't think it's binaural beats. It's isochronic tones or something, I think.
Oh,
and
it's on his YouTube page?
It's the last one he posted. It says astral projection for beginners. And I've used his stuff before. You know, I've always followed his work. But what's really interesting is he has these synchronicity walks that he'll like just have people meet up like downtown or something, and I think they roll the dice one time, and then that's like the number they follow. And I mean, it is crazy the stuff that happens.
Yeah. I saw those synchronicity walks. Have you guys ever checked that out? Those walks are on that guy's channel. He's the guy coming on in a week from this Monday.
Yes, yeah, and his stuff's amazing. I can't wait to tell him this. It's really weird. I had like a lucid dream one time. I mean, it wasn't one that was like controllable, but it was like really lucid. And I was like at a conference, and there was like tables set up for different like vendors or like channel. I don't know. I guess I watch YouTube too much. I don't know. But anyway, he had like some kind of out of body simulation thing set up. And it was funny because I knew that Graham Nichols did that, and then I found out that he actually does that, I think. I mean, he does something like that. And I was like, really, it kind of scared me, actually. It tripped me out. So I'm going to tell him about that. He'll probably like that.
Okay, they're wanting to know, what was the name of the channel again? Can you spell it?
Okay, yeah, I'm going to spell it for everybody. Ready? Todd. Todd.
Todd, Todd. Okay.
And I hope I'm spelling. Okay, it's Akamesis. And look, I gotta tell y'all, I've listened to his meditation so long. It's gonna be so weird to like talk to him and be like, you know how many times I've like heard that voice like while I'm sleeping or in my head, and you know it's weird. That's kind of strange, but no, he's got some good stuff, and you know, that's why I thought he'd be a really neat person to have on.
Yeah, that's awesome. So let's talk about those synchronicity walks, because I love those videos. It's been a while since I watched one, but someone sent me a link to one of them in an email once. It's probably you, Sherry.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, people send me stuff all the time, so it's hard to keep it straight where they come from, but it was a while back. That was probably when you first started tuning into the channel, wasn't it?
Yeah, I've always followed this guy's stuff. It's so neat. Like, I'm trying to think how it goes. Like, he might have people all meet downtown.
Yeah, so
I think he puts out a flyer.
Yeah, that's how it was. I think he put something out, and then like all these random people show up. You know, people like probably like us, we would show up to some stuff like this, right? And
right.
They all meet at this place, and then they kind of come up with some
dice or something.
Yeah. And then, do they like make a primary person? Like, I think they just switch it around to different.
They find the white rabbit, and then they follow the white rabbit. They find a person like with a red hoodie or something. I don't know how they come to that. You know, and then they like follow them
until synchronicity pops up.
That's what it is. I think it's. Look, I'm trying to do this all by memory. Look, I think it's like when they roll the dice and it's like a 3. It's like, okay, we're gonna follow the white rabbit for 3 minutes, and then say the number was like 369 or something. They'll like turn around, and all of a sudden it'll be like something will say 369 on it, and then they go in there, and then it's just so weird how it works.
Yeah.
It's
and then
amazing.
the one that I watched was really cool because it had like they were following all these little things like you said, follow this guy for 3 minutes and then do this and then go to the next turn and like make a left, and they had little ways of not getting stuck with just to find the next synchronicity basically. So
right, one time they got on a bus and then it started raining right when they got on the bus, and they were supposed to ride the bus a certain number of streets, and it stopped raining. It was kept them out of the rain.
Yeah, and then one time they were following this guy, and this is I think how it ended. And then he stopped, but they didn't keep walking right up on him. They just kind of stopped where they were at, and they were next to this homeless guy, and they all gave the guy a bunch of money and stuff, or it might have been a woman, I can't remember, but they were crying. It was a real touching moment, how their synchronicity led them to helping this homeless person that really needed it at that moment. Did you see that one?
Yeah, it's really
everybody
cool.
was crying, and it was amazing. It was this real touching moment and stuff, and it was kind of, for anyone looking on, would probably be like, what the heck's going on with the grouping of people crying around this homeless person? But it was touching. Everybody was hugging.
It is.
It was cool.
I noticed he has a new one out. I think it's called The Matrix. I didn't watch it yet. I'm gonna watch it tonight. I had saw it when I was pulling up that video. But anyway, you just wear it in your headphones and just lay down and try to relax, and it's really interesting. It's good It's something that I use for a meditation kind of. I use this stuff to meditate.
Right.
But so I'm so excited to have them on or whatever. But anyway, is Eileen still in the chat room?
Yeah, Eileen's on because we're gonna have on SMQ AI on Monday.
Yes, I always mix up the letters of his name when I'm trying to thanks for saying that. Anyway, so I'm interested to go on there because I've been looking at his stuff and everything, and he was talking about how people at in the Gateway program at the Monroe Institute, they'll click out, and it's some kind of interdimensional travel thing. And I was like, no, I think that's just when you fall asleep, because when I was there, I had this one meditation we were doing about dolphin healing, thing or whatever. And I'm doing it, and I fell asleep. And they were all so nice to me that they all did it again because it was going to be my favorite one, and I fell asleep. So everybody in the whole group did it again, plus the teachers and everything. They're like, no, we're going to do it again for you. You do it again at the exact same point. Right at the beginning, I fell asleep. I haven't fell asleep in any of them. Well, the third time, finally they told me, they said, no, you're not falling asleep. You're clicking out. Or they said something. No, they said you clicked out or something, and I thought they meant falling asleep. But now I'm wondering, they said maybe you had some other kind of work to do then or something, and I didn't really understand. And now I think I'm seeing more to it now that I'm going through some of this stuff before this show. So with Eileen being I was like, oh no, I'm going to have to get Eileen to help me out because I'm not, I don't know, his stuff is really, really deep. I'm trying to grasp all of it, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. But, I don't know that it's as connected to I think it's dancing around the issue that the whole Mandela effect is connected with, but I don't think there's a direct connection, but I don't know, I could be wrong, but I think
the reason I thought it was,
I was just going to say they're in the same playground, but I don't know that, I don't know. Sorry to interrupt. Continue on.
No, I did. Anyway, no, I was going to say that they have so many Mandela effect theories. And I'm going to tell you the truth. When he had the one that was, we all died in 2012. And I was like, I never would listen to his stuff. And one night I was bored and Darby wasn't home. And I know what it was. He had came on the Higher Side Chats. And I like that show a lot with Greg Carlwood. And so I was like, you know what? I'm going to just check this out. And I'm going to tell you, it's really an interesting theory. And also, he's not saying that that's what happened. He's saying it's a thought, and I don't know, it was an interesting thing to listen to, Yeah,
so,
Eileen's saying,
Eileen's saying that she clicks out during crystal bowls. Now, I find that interesting because when we got together in Austin, Sandy was doing that crystal bowl, and man, I just got so dizzy. I was totally probably about to click out or something, because I was like, I had to sort of pull myself out of it because I felt like I was really, really dizzy just from a crystal bowl. I found it really strange, but it was, I think it was a third eye crystal bowl or a crown. I can't remember which one it was. Do you remember? Maybe it was a third eye one. Whatever it was, it made me dizzy.
It looked like a big salad bowl to me.
It did look like a big salad bowl, but you know, we were playing with the different bowls down there, and you know, we were noticing, we were all agreeing that we were feeling them in the same spot. Like, so that one was like, or pretty close to the same spot. Like that one for me was right between my temples. It was like, it almost felt like something was squeezing me on my temples a little bit. You know, not painful, but to me it was like lined up perfect with the third eye on that one.
Yeah, and I noticed like it seemed like when she did it, it would go in a circle. Like I could almost like feel the energy going in a circle, just like as she was doing on the bowl. You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
but I think it was. You were asking if it was copper, or I asking what it was. I don't think it was crystal. I think it was. I don't remember.
I think hers was crystal, and the other ones were just brass. But
yeah.
But the one she was playing was, and that whole effect you're talking about, it was resonating around the room, and you just made me realize maybe that's what made me feel dizzy. The sound of going in a circle gave my brain the illusion that I was spinning. But I always thought dizziness came from actually spinning, and then the liquid on your inner ear kept spinning even though you stopped, and it made you feel dizzy until it stopped. So I don't know. I don't really know. I just know I was really dizzy from it, and I could feel it going around the room just like you were saying. And I assumed it would be going with her hand around the bowl, but it wasn't. Her hand was like, it would go around the room like 3 times to every one pass she made around the whole thing. So it was strange to open my eyes and actually watch it happening.
For me, it was really interesting because I hadn't really had any experience with them. I'd listened to meditations before, like online. They had singing bowls, you know, but I'd never really been around one in real life, you know, so it was kind of cool.
Yeah, those things are really expensive.
Yeah.
I'd get one if they weren't so expensive.
I asked her how much that one was. It was like $250 or something.
Yeah.
But it's really neat.
That would be awesome to have.
Yeah. See, I didn't know how many people can get on your thing, because I was thinking if I can't get through all this material, I'm going to have to get Eileen to come on there for some backup.
I'm sure she'd be happy to do that. She likes SMQAI too.
Well, I mean, I'm grasping a lot of it, but some of it, you know, I just, you know, I don't know. I got some little questions together and everything that I just I'm learning stuff from him, and it threw me off because I thought, you know, I don't know how to explain it. The stuff that I was going to ask him, now I know. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah. I'm going to get...
Sorry, I was reading the chat.
I've learned a lot.
I was listening.
I've been really researching his stuff a lot for, you know, days and days and days. And, of course, it brought me back to looking through Robert Monroe's work and everything. And I guess one of my biggest questions for him right now is, you know, is he saying that the Monroe Institute was, like, negative or positive? Because if it's negative, then I must have, like, Stockholm Syndrome, because I love that place.
Yeah, I don't think it's negative. I think, you know, I wouldn't be surprised if the government, you know, just used the information, the research, you know, in some kind of way that he would have never intended. I wouldn't doubt that. But, yeah, I don't feel like he was in on it or anything. From what I've seen.
Yeah, one thing I was thinking,
legit. Like,
back in those times and stuff like that, back then, you know, everybody, like, highly respected it. Like, if the you know, military or something approached and said, oh, we're so interested in your stuff, you know, or whatever, that would be an honor, you know, and he would have been like, you know, all that. But anyway, I guess we'll find out everything.
Yeah. Well, what's cool is that something I didn't know, and we'll bring it up on Monday too, but for people that don't know about the so there's a CIA document that was released, and They approved it for release back in 2003, so I don't feel like this is just now. I think it's just now a few people covered it or whatever, but it's been out there. It's not like, I don't know, something brand new on the scene, I don't think. Doesn't look like it. But anyway, that document talks about working with the Monroe Institute on a program called, what's the first level called again? Gateway program.
Gateway.
Okay, so what I didn't know that is that this was like what you were telling me. Is this like the preschool of it's like your entry level. Gateway's the entry level. If you were to go to the Monroe Institute, you would start out with Gateway, but that's like kindergarten, right?
Yeah, it's like you go through Gateway, and that's a prerequisite to go through Guidelines, and Guidelines prerequisite to go to Heartlines. Heartlines prerequisite to go to Lifelines, which is like soul retrieval and stuff like that. And then you can go to Starlines, which is like alien interaction and stuff like that. It's like sets, like, and we worked on, when I was there at Gateway, like those different focus levels and all that stuff. And, everybody that talks about Robert Monroe, they don't ever include, like, they only discuss a couple of his focus levels, like Focus 27 and Focus 10 or 11 or whatever. But, I mean, there's all of them, it's like from 1 to like, I think 28. And then you go on to the next level, like Guidelines. So,
that's
but honestly,
wild.
if I go back to Monroe Institute, my next thing that I want to go to is one of William Buellman's OBE intensive programs, because it's the same amount of time as like Gateway and all that, but they just really focus on having people like get out of body. It's really interesting.
And that's a week long too?
I love him. He's a great author. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay, so these things aren't cheap, right?
They're about $2,500
for a week.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So they feed you. It's.
Mm-hmm.
I guess if you you don't have to pay for a hotel, then you're staying there at the place, right? And
mm-hmm.
Do you feel like
really
a lab
nice.
rat in there?
I mean, no, everybody. Look.
I'm just asking. It sounds like this place that.
So funny. Because my son is like not like, I don't know. He's thinking about his own stuff all the time, right? When he found out I was going there, it was almost like so weird, because he's like, "Mom, you can't go there. You didn't see the movie Hostel?" And I was like, "No, I still don't know what it's about." Okay, but anyway, and he's like, he called him. He called him, and he's like, "I need to know what my mom's going to," and all that. And plus, he was really upset, as well as my husband was, because I actually was contacted and someone paid for me to go. And then I never met him. I never saw him again or anything like that. And so they thought that was really weird. And so I felt like it was a manifestation, and I was all happy about that. But they were like, all had their little antennas up. And Devin's like, "Man, that's just like a bird's eye or a bird's flight or whatever to the White House and all this stuff." And I was like, "Oh, yeah, stop," But then now this is what it kind of shook me up a little bit, because I was wanting to have him on before I found out about this part. What happened was, when I was going to have him on about the 2012 stuff, because I thought it was a cool theory and it'd be fun for some people to look at because of the Mandela effect. So I go to catch up on his stuff, and I'm like, what? And it's all about this CIA document about Gateway and the Monroe Institute, which is like my thing, So
Right.
it kind of threw me off. That's what I meant when I was saying I got like thrown off and into this big rabbit hole.
Well, you've been an inside person then. What's your gut tell you? What's your intuition tell you? Do you feel like it was all good? You didn't have any bad vibes there or anything?
Well, I feel like it was all good, and I think it was about like exploring your consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, I think if anything, that they were probably interested because they might have been interested in like remote viewing and stuff.
Right.
And like while I was there, even we got to have a whole day like of a lecture with Joe McMoneagle, and he was like a remote viewer. I don't want to lie, in the military, like with Courtney Brown and all them. And he's written some books and stuff. And then we got to play remote viewing. And this is kind of cool. They did the arch in St. Louis, and I had drawn like this rainbow, and I don't know, some other stuff. So anyway, whenever the guy that's like teaching it comes over, and he's like, he like holds up my picture and shows the class and everything, and he's like, look, she got it. And I was like, no, I didn't. I had a rainbow. When you looked at it, like the picture of it, like with the background and all this stuff and this art, it really did look like the same, my picture.
Oh,
but
yeah.
You know.
Yeah, I was
but
just
I didn't
watching
get
this.
Those art.
I was just watching this one. Gosh, I can't say much about it without triggering. But anyway, I was watching this remote viewing video that just came out that Dan from Talk is Cheap had alluded to on his YouTube channel, and so you can find it that way. But basically, I was so impressed at the ability of these remote viewers. It was like, I don't know, I got chills several times just to see them talk so much about it, but not ever really realize what they were seeing. So a lot of it's like exactly like you're talking about. So you see the shape, you assume it's a rainbow, you know, maybe you're catching some of that iridescence reflection off of the metal of it as the sun hits it, you know, and you don't know, you're like, oh, it's a rainbow or something, you know, and you draw it. And so that's exactly that. They'll do things like that. They'll draw the target and they'll think it's something different, but it will look so much like it. And it's mind blowing what they can do. And it's weird because it's a completely blind reading. They don't have anything but this number, like 3B58 or something, you know. That's all they got to go off of. And then they start pulling all this information about the target, and it's like, what? And it's like all sealed. They can't. But to hear them talk so much about it so accurately is really impressive.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. I don't see where I could have got it. I guess working on it, you could get it developed more into something more specific. But
yeah.
Anyway, it was kind of cool, you know, for that to have that happen. But one other thing I wanted to mention about the Monroe Institute, which was really weird, was when I got there, you're with like 23 other people because there's 24 of you. And you straight up feel like you know them, and you're sitting there looking around, and you're like, okay, this girl that's my roommate now, which her name was Monica, and we still stay in touch, and I love her forever. It was like she looked just like my friend Peggy from high school, and then it was like, you know, there was this guy that was like a pilot, Charlie, and he looked like my brother Mark, you know. And I'm like, when you go, I mean, like so much, it was like trippy. And so then when we're sitting there, like, you know, I'm kind of like freaking out on that. And once everybody gets there and we sit down and talk, they tell us that y'all all were supposed to be here at the same time. You know, all are connected, and you're going to notice that people look familiar. And then we're all like tripping out, you know, because there'd already been people coming up to you and saying, like, you look like my aunt, whatever, and my cousin this, and this one's little sister, or whatever. That was really, really strange, you know.
What do you think's up with that? That whole plays into the whole simulation thing to me. It's like, and I often think that it's like sometimes you'll see like the same character over and over again, but you know, it's really different people, but they're sort of playing out similar roles. You know, that bus driver, that cop, you know what I mean? But then you'll know one, and it's like they're different or whatever. I don't know. It's just kind of funny because you're like, you found all of the pairs of the people that you knew in your life, other versions of them in other cities or something, playing out slightly different roles, but it was still kind of them. It was just, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's wild stuff.
It was crazy, yeah. Then they said that, like, there's always, like, two people there that have a Monroe-mance. And that, like, people, there's all, and there was, like, this little couple of people that, like, hooked up while they were there.
Oh, a Monroe-mance?
Like, yeah.
I just caught that.
There's always, like, one
Monroe-mance.
couple. So there was that, and then that happened. So that was kind of interesting. And, yeah, the food was really good. And they have, like, if you're, like, they have good food. Like, they even have, like, pizza and stuff like that. But then if somebody's, like, vegan or vegetarian, they have all those options. And they'll make special things for people and all that. And it's really kind of like being on a cruise or something. You know, it's really nice like that. And, it's neat. They have, like, a river by there that you can go and, like, you know, go in the river and, like, a little, like, canoe. That's what word I'm looking for. They have this huge crystal there. It's, like, 5 feet tall and 3 feet around, and they do that. Then they did this thing called a silent walk. You should have seen me trying to do that. I was like trying to not talk, and it wasn't going well, but I pulled it off. So anyway, they were saying like that something really special would happen or whatever. Well, my dad had died a couple years ago or whatever. So I was like asking my dad to give me a sign for like, you know, kind of what you were supposed to set an intention for it.
Mm-hmm.
When I tell y'all, it's out in the country, this humongous, I'm not even lying to y'all, it's like this huge butterfly. Its wingspan would have had to been like 8 inches. I'm not even lying. It was an orange monarch butterfly, and it landed on my hand, and it stayed there the whole time outside while I was walking around. I went and sat by the crystal, and it was like a walking meditation is what it was. And it stayed on my hand the whole time. And, like, everybody was, like, freaking out at how big it was, you know, and trying not to talk at the same time. But, yeah, it was really a neat experience. And I got to say, that's where I met Monica, my roommate. And what was so neat about her is that her mom has like debilitating dementia, and she's like bedbound, and her dad is taking care of her all the time. So Monica goes out of body at night and hangs out with her mom because she says her mom's soul has already left her body, that she's not in there anymore at all ever, and that's just her shell. And they hang out and stuff. And she said that they do like, you know, regular things, but they also do things that are like kind of like adventures, like if you were to be playing a game. Like she said one time they parachuted down to this jungle, and they had on like their army boots and all this stuff, her and her mom now, okay? And it's raining as they're getting like, you know, sloshed with all this rain. And she said, and we looked up, and there was this great big giant eating a bowl of cereal and slopping his milk everywhere, and that's what was getting on them. And they laughed and laughed and laughed and laughed and laughed that night. I know that sounds crazy, but that's how it is. Like you can have like, like experiences that are like controlled and so real, but then you also can have things that you kind of let the environment interact with you and have interesting things like that happen. You know what I mean? And she told me all kind of stories that were so neat. And they have the neatest relationship, and her mom is not dead. She's not on the other side, not yet. And
That's
she said that
now, is her mom just laying there then, asleep, like all the time?
Yeah, she's like got a diaper and all that. She opens her eyes and she makes noises and stuff like that, but she's like, you know, she's just
it's like the shell of it's on autopilot, like her heart's beating, her lungs are breathing, and her brain's doing what it's doing, but she's not even in there anymore. She's like out already exploring and stuff.
Yeah,
that's interesting.
And
because both my parents
really,
kind of went through that. They were probably just watching from the outside after a certain point in hospice care or whatever, you know.
Yeah, and that's when that was why I had one of the things that I had contacted the Monroe Institute about, which was how I think, you know, that they'd got my name and on that list because or whatever to call me, because I was working with a hospice patient at the time that was dying, and what happened was she kept telling me she was scared to die, and so I had contacted the Monroe Institute because in one of the books I had read that they had where you could like contact them, and they had people that were like really, really good at going out of body, controlled all the time, and they could go and like help that person process to make it easier for them to like cross over, to let go, to not be scared and all this. So I contacted them, and they actually said that they were going to help and everything, and she died a couple of days later, but then they contacted me and told me that she didn't have any problem crossing over, and that she was met from some girlfriends at school and was so happy and all this stuff. But here's what's weird about it was that she didn't have a good relationship with her husband, and she was friends with her girlfriends from school. That was her best friend. Mm-hmm. And they had all like passed away already. But except for there was 2 alive. But listen to this. One of them, she would call her name out at night, and she would be like, Julie, Julie. And then one time it was, I was changing her diaper in the middle of the night, and I said, Miss Joyce, is Julie alive even? Or I said, is she still alive? And she looked at me for a long time, and then she said, mostly. Well, then I found out later that Julie had dementia like her. And so they would, like, call for each other at night, and then she'd be like, Julie, Julie, and then she'd be like, oh, there you are. And so they were, like, going out of body and visiting each other and all this stuff even before they died. And people, you don't really think about that, but that seems to be what I've learned from my experience, with Miss Joyce and at the Monroe Institute and all that. It was kind of like it all kind of fit together.
Yeah, death isn't what we think it is it?
No, it's really interesting. And then, like, also, whenever I had already, like, they'd contact, after I'd contacted them to help Miss Joyce, is when someone contacted me and said that they'd been out of body, and Robert Monroe had said that I needed to go, but I wouldn't go spend that money on myself, so they were paying for me to go. And so on my way there, the day that I left driving, this truck, like, cuts me off on the interstate, and I, like, had to, like, slam on my brakes and everything, and I look up, and on the back of it, it says Joyce, which was Miss Joyce's name,
Right.
I think it was just really all so synchronistic and interesting,
That's amazing. You could have overlooked that through the fear of what was happening, too,
Yeah. It was pretty neat, though.
I wonder how many
we're
things we
gonna have
overlooked
some
like that.
neat. I know.
I'm sorry.
Huh?
There is a delay, so don't feel like you're cutting me off. It's from my point of view, it's I had already started talking, so there is like
sorry.
No, it's okay.
That's what I worry about, when we're doing that show, is that because I'm just, I don't know. It makes me nervous.
When we're on Hangouts, it's only like half as bad. This is like almost the full second and a half delay, and sometimes I can hear myself echoing back through a little bit, and it's pretty delayed. I don't know, it seems like going all the way there and all the way back, it's like 2 or 3 seconds or something. So that's a huge delay. But when we're doing our show, it's not too bad.
You're just being nice. But anyway, yeah, on that show, I got to tell the chat room that I'm telling y'all, if it wasn't for y'all, I wouldn't be doing this, because I do not feel like I'm good at it all. Like I have, I'll try to think to say something, and then I go to say it, and I'll forget what I'm saying in the middle of it because I get nervous, and I don't know. I just thank y'all for putting up with me.
Oh, you do great. Nothing to worry about.
I do like to find I like finding the people that everybody else thinks interesting and stuff, and try to find some different topics, and I hope people keep contacting us to come on if they have some neat stories. We still need to get Justin on there, and
yeah, he hasn't emailed me. I asked him to. Has he emailed you?
His channel again.
We're giving Dustin a hard time while we're live now. Dustin, email us so we can get a hold of you.
Yeah. And then one of those shows, maybe we can run my little thing I put together for them, my baby monitor stuff.
Oh yeah, that's some pretty creepy stuff. I don't know if some of it's fake though. I'm really suspicious about some of it, just because of the way it was recorded. But some of it seems pretty real. That you've got that one that I can't wait to show where it's like this baby like balancing on the side of the crib, and it looks like an angel or something is helping him not fall or something. It's I don't know.
Yeah, and of course the poster of the video has got to go this year, and it's like possessed baby.
Yeah, they always got to do it, make it like it's evil or scary or something, because it was like night vision, and the baby's eyes were glowing from the night vision thing, and it's like balancing on the side of the thing, and it was kind of creepy looking, but I don't know, I felt like an angel was keeping him from falling and busting his head open, because he fell right back into the crib.
What we're talking about is paranormal activity caught on baby monitors.
Yeah.
I love stuff like that, so.
It's pretty cool, though. Yeah, that one I presented a few weeks ago, that was like a home security camera, so that would be another search we should probably do, is home security camera paranormal footage. Yeah.
Yeah, that's so interesting. So,
That's cool
yeah,
stuff.
I'm trying to get Eileen to come and meet me and go to the Myrtles plantation down here. Right by my house, they have this plantation home. And like So said, if you go there, they had a slave that was eavesdropping on her master or whatever. And for punishment, they like cut her ear off. And so if you go in here on this tour, you need to wear earrings that you don't like, because So said all the women come out of it missing an earring, but you never notice when it comes off.
That's
So
pretty
I thought
creepy.
that was cool. And then there's a lot of people that I know that have went there, and they all have had experiences like stuff show up, like in photographs, and like they'd see things in the mirror, like standing behind them or whatever. But what interests me the most is there's a certain room that, like, So said these kids, I know what it was, that slave woman made some pie or something that was poison, I think, and gave it to the people. They got sick, and the children died. And anyway, these kids haunt this room. But here's the thing, they have, like, toys in there, and they, like, play with them in the middle
Like the
of
toys
night.
would be
And
moving
people
and
thought
stuff?
Yeah. I saw a YouTube video of a doll moving in there and stuff.
That'd be
So
cool.
I
I
told
know
Eileen-
it freaks people out, but that would be kind of cool. I think it would be cool. I might
Yeah,
get there
so I
and feel
wanted to-
differently when I see toys moving by themselves, but, I would have some pretty, I don't know, I'd go in there open-minded and hope to see something, but you never know how
Yeah,
you're
I
going to
thought it was
react.
I thought it was going to be, like, really, really expensive, but, like, it's more expensive to say, like, in the, they have, like, the slave quarters with these, it's like cabins, I guess, where you can have more people than two to see the house. I'm telling you, I work at this hospital. It's, like, really old, and it's, I think people were just, like, way smaller back then because, like the bathrooms and stuff are, like, not very wide to go in the doors, stuff like that. And I guess it's kind of like that. But anyway, they only allow 2 people per room inside of the house. And because everything's, like, really, really small and stuff. You can't have more than 2 people in a room. So
Megan says she wants to go.
She's in?
She's in.
Megan,
Yeah.
Megan wants to go to New Orleans for my birthday. So
Um,
that
wha-
should be something. The last time I went to New Orleans, I had an interesting experience that I probably can't even discuss on here, but yeah.
Well, Eileen is saying that she is a ghost magnet. A ghost hunter told her once. So
Yeah, I think I am too, but I'm just now starting to perceive stuff like that.
yeah.
In fact,
guys can
do
get
you have
some
another
footage.
caller yet?
No, nobody's waiting.
Okay,
Are you trying to get rid of me already? We're having a great discussion.
Well, I had another thing I was thinking I could tell about, but okay. You remember whenever I don't know if I even told you or not, but when we got back from Austin, I was all tired from driving and everything, and Susan, my friend that had went with me to Austin, called me and said, "Can you can I come get you?" And we go check on Melissa's dad. That was her ex-husband. She's like, because he didn't contact her for like New Year's, say Happy New Year's, and it's not like him. And I think something's wrong and all this. So then I put a joke because, I'm just silly like that. And I'm like, oh, yeah, I'll go with you, Selma and Louise, forever, right? Okay. Remember that as I continue the story.
Okay.
So we go there, and we knock on the door, and no one answers and everything. And so this house is like, it's really wet down here, like kind of swampland, so a lot of houses are built up high. And so she can see in the window, and I saw a brick under the house. So I pulled this brick out. I'm like, here, Susan, get on this. So she gets on the brick, looking in the bedroom window, and she's like, I don't see nothing. So I'm like, well, come here. And I pull the brick over under the living room window. And so she gets up on the brick, and she looks, and then she, like, starts to collapse. And she's like, oh, my God, he's on the floor. Call the police. And I'm like, what's the number? And she's like, 911, and I'm like, yeah. So I call 911, and they,
sorry, I don't mean to laugh.
And I know, huh?
It is
so,
like that when you're in
we
a freak out moment.
Yeah, but it broke the tension, you know. So because we laughed. Okay, so anyway, so they get there and everything, and poor Phil had died. Now, what's interesting about this is that when we went to Austin, she wasn't really familiar with our group a whole lot yet, but she wanted to go to Enchanted Rock, and it's a mountain, and it's pink, and it's really cool. She wanted to hike it, and I wanted to, so we were going to do that. And so what's weird is she used to live in Austin with this man, this one that died, and they had Melissa, the daughter, and they were all happy in life, and she said that Enchanted Rock was like their Mecca. You know, they'd go there all the time. And so she had told him that they were going. And when they lived there, though, he was trying to get this dream job, and he did not get the job. And so they had to move back, so they moved here. Now, if that would have never happened, I would have never met Susan. But anyway, he became an alcoholic over it, and he stayed alcoholic. And that's how they ended up getting a divorce. And then he was, like, living by himself and just drinking all the time and stuff like this. So that's why they would worry about him if he didn't text back and stuff like that. But so he loved this Enchanted Rock and would go there and everything. So whenever they found out that he died, they were trying to figure out when, because, you know, she was the last one to talk to him, and it was before we had left before New Year's. And so he found a pill box, like, with his medicine, you know, like the fries. Anyway, we calculated it. He probably died in the middle of the night before we went to Enchanted Rock. That's how it looked from his pill box and everything. And it was really neat because, like, when we were on the top of there was this little squirrel that, like kept coming up to us and stuff. And it seemed like, you know, it was just weird how it was. It wasn't afraid or anything. And then a rabbit was doing that at his house that night whenever the police were there and everything. But real quick, to wrap up that story, though, the punchline is that I put that Thelma and Louise comment. Well, then when she told them that she was the ex-wife, then they split us up to interrogate us. And they're like, now tell us the story from the time you got here until we got here. And I was like, oh, my God, if they look at my phone, because it said Thelma and Louise forever, you know, like, so I was like, we're going to be going down when we didn't even do nothing. But anyway, and I had to work that night, so I was, like, trying to get out of my interrogation before I had to go to work at 11. But, so anyway, my point is that once everything got settled, it was like the next night or something, Susan had called me, well, I had called her to check on Melissa or something. And I started having this thing happen where I was, like, literally getting messages from Phil for her. And it was stuff that I didn't even know. And I was, like, have this tingling that felt almost like an electric, but it wasn't like when something's asleep. It felt real rhythmic or something. I don't know how to explain it. When I knew that he was, like, saying yes to something, and, like, she literally started talking to him kind of, like, through me, and I didn't know anything about this guy at all. In fact, when we were cleaning out his house and stuff, I was really freaking out because he had all kind of books of stuff that I was interested in. Like, he had, you know, like, I don't know, like Men in Black and stuff about dreams and prophecy and just all kind of neat stuff, you know, just different subjects and all. And he was saying,
so it seemed like he was awake then, sort of awake to, at least curious and that stuff.
Everything. He was all into all that stuff that we all look at, you know.
Yeah.
And but I was getting all kind of messages from him. But what was neat was that he had, like, said something like that he was into, like, synchronicities. Well, then she confirms this, right? Well, whenever it comes, here's the end of the story. I know it was long. I'm sorry, and all confused. Whenever the death certificate comes in, they had put that he had died, like, on 1/1 at, like, 11/11 or something like that. That's how they did it. And I knew that he loved that, you know, that it was like a synchronistic number, and I could tell that he thought that was like funny that they, you know, did that, and he loved the fact that they, and it ended up almost like this. Like I told Susan, he really couldn't have had a more beautiful death story, because she was at Enchanted Rock, like probably when he died, and they were, you know, there was so much.
Yeah.
I don't know. It was just almost like it was supposed to be like that.
Yeah, when you see all those synchronicities like that, it really does help you deal with things like, you know, and that happens with a lot of people when they lose a loved one. They'll just feel their presence, or maybe smell their cigar or whatever, or whatever it is, you know, you'll just feel that presence, and it sort of lets you know that they're not really gone. They're just out of their body. So. Awesome.
Yeah, it's really interesting.
I also heard people sometimes, well, after you die, they'll just hang around until they feel like their loved ones are okay with it and stuff like that. So you're probably pretty in tune for them to use you, like, you know, knowing that. I wonder if people, ghosts like that, kind of go from person to person until they start, like, making some progress or whatever, you know, like, tell her blah, 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 you know.
So they can find someone that could, like, communicate, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I'm not good at any of that, though. You know, not at all. I mean, it happens to me, like, accidentally and a little bit, and it's kind of, like, sporadic. I don't know. It's nothing. Like I said, one of my, I guess you'd say, gifts or whatever, it's just that I smell spirits, but I don't like that because it doesn't really tell me who they are. You know?
It's probably just
but
the beginning,
though. But then I usually find out later. Mm-hmm.
You know, I can imagine, like, one of your senses being stronger than the other for a while, and then as we move into, I think we're all going to start noticing things more and more, you know?
Yeah, yep. There's more and more stuff. I've had so much stuff happen to me like that. It all, I guess it just all happened. I don't know, it's kind of neat when I look back on it, how everything has fallen together and developed, you know, like from 2010. It's so weird when I look back at how different I am, you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, man. Gosh. That reminds me of just thinking about going back to painting houses again. That sounds so ridiculous now. So, yeah, it's... I guess I quit doing that before I started college, though. So, it's been a few years. That was 2009. And then I went back a few times for some apartment paintings and stuff. But, yeah, even just 2 years ago, you know, life is so different. Eileen says she hears music. I've heard of that too.
Yeah, I tell Eileen she can hear me. My mom, I came home the other day, my mom's like, I had something paranormal happen. And I'm like, what? She's like, I was hearing music coming from the, I think from the, like, garbage disposal or something. And she said she was hearing music, and I was like, well, what kind of music, you know? And I was like, was it classical or what? Now I can't remember what she said. But
are you in an apartment?
No.
Oh, okay. So it wasn't like the sound of a neighbor going through the pipe or something. Then okay, I was just look at me. I'm always the skeptic, just trying to figure stuff out.
I know. That's what I'm saying. It's so funny. But then I'm somebody that always goes straight to the paranormal thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I've
just had so much that happen.
I just try to rule out the, you know, natural things first. I don't feel like it's not happening. I just think it's, you know, rule some natural things out and then move on to paranormal.
Yeah.
But no, I've seen things now. I know there's weird stuff happen. So, well, we got about 3 minutes before I got to take a break.
Well, perfect. Then I hear you do a break. Yeah. Cool.
We actually had another caller come in too. So.
Oh,
we had another caller come in. So if you can just hang out to the break, we'll do the break, and then I'll go to the other caller.
Awesome.
So just 6 more minutes for the caller, and I'll be with you.
Thank all of y'all for putting up with me, like when I call and stuff, because I know everything I say is like disorganized or whatever. Try to get it out.
Yeah, Angela says I hear death metal music from my garbage disposal. LOL, just kidding.
It's funny. Oh, yeah. Yep, anytime you need someone to call, I usually have a story, but...
Eileen's saying she loves you, you're a hero. That's cool, though, that you're having these things, and I think you have to be open-minded to a certain extent before you can even begin to do stuff. If it's not even possible in your mind, then how can you have an experience? So I think that's cool that you're open-minded to the paranormal stuff. I think that's why you're having more experiences, you know? And I'm probably not, because I'm a doubter a lot with things, you know? Just, it's something you have to change over time. You can't really just jump on board with that. But you've been having stuff going on for a long time, so I completely understand.
Yeah, we've had stuff happen growing up at home, so I was raised like that, sort of, you know. Anyway, yeah, Eileen, I've learned so much from you, and, you know, I think it's so cool that the first YouTube channels I was all into was, like, all connected, because there was, like, Vanessa and Eileen and Paulo, and then you, and that's so weird that y'all are writing that book together, and that's so weird. Really strange.
Yeah, that's wild stuff that we came together, we just resonated, and it's like this purpose that we have to do, so it's cool. And she says, you're the kindest person I have never met. Ha 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 ha.
Oh, we're gonna meet though, I promise. Yep.
So we have another
Is she
guest
going to
for
E-City?
2 weeks from Monday, right? Is that confirmed?
Hey, let me think which one that is.
Well, that'd actually be the 8th, because...
Wait. Yo, Todd is on the 8th.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, wait, Todd's on the 8th.
SNQ is on...
Oh, that's right, because we are skipping a week.
Oh, the 1st is the only one we haven't accounted for? Oh, okay, yeah. So the 1st, April 1st, is my daughter's birthday, and I'm not sure if I'll be back if I do end up taking that trip. I'm not sure if I'll be back in time. So we're just kind of leaving that off the schedule right now, just because I might get back that day, and we'll want to celebrate my daughter's birthday that night. So, yeah, so the 8th is Todd. So it's actually 2 weeks from, or that's 3 weeks then, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'm confused.
Me too. Wait. What's Monday?
Like the 18th, 17th? Oh, actually, we're coming up on a break. All right.
Okay.
Well, I appreciate you calling, Sherry. Lots of love.
Okay. All right.
Bye-bye.
Love all y'all.
Our past lives
Is Atlantis really Atlantis really
Have you ever been visited by others in your dreams?
Is an astrology chart a map of your soul?
Join us each week at Spirit's Journey on Oneness Talk Radio.
You'll get answers to these questions and more each Saturday at 11 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Central. Are relationships based on soul contracts?
What is the quickest way to undo karmic ties?
Are we bound by universal laws, or do we have free will with no consequences?
How can we access the wisdom of the Akashic Records?
You'll receive practical guidance to live your sweetest life. We'll explore dreams, astrology, intuitive readings, life purpose,
karma, past lives, healing, and so much more. Learn about what we do at intuitiveschool.com.
We want to hear from you. Connect with us, ask questions, and continue the discussion on Facebook at Spirit's Journey Radio.
Namaste. I am wisdom teacher Sri Ram Ka. Are you noticing that life is speeding up? Are you experiencing changes in perception, interrupted sleep patterns, headaches, and shifts in personal relationships? Chances are you are having a spiritual experience, not a medical problem. We call these experiences AAEs, or Ascension Acceleration Energy Experiences. These are signs that your vibrational rate is accelerating. You can learn more about AAEs and how to reorient yourself to the energy of these transformational times by visiting our website, www.selfascension.com. That's www.selfascension.com. As a nonprofit organization, we offer classes and teaching to support your journey. Visit the appearances page at our website, www.selfascension.com. Blessings on your path.
Hi, I'm Alan.
And I'm Sandra.
Together, we host Twin Flame Divine Fire every Saturday afternoon from 2 to 4 Pacific.
Our journey started with the discovery that we were twin flames, but it's become much, much more than that.
It has been said that there are many paths to ascend the mountain, and that's what we offer you each and every week. We feature spiritual teachers, authors, and musicians.
We also bring you everyday people that have come to the realization that life isn't quite what it appears to be.
We know deep within ourselves that we've chosen to be on this planet at this time to assist humanity to remember who we truly are.
No matter where you are on the journey, it's our desire to give you the tools for your self-ascension with informative guests and a lot of laughter.
So join Sandra and me every Saturday afternoon, 2 to 4 Pacific on Twin Flame Divine Fire, right here on Oneness Talk Radio.
We are back. Let's put the numbers up on the screen, get Sherry's name off of there. Okay, so phone lines are open. We had somebody waiting, I guess. Maybe going to call back. Didn't want to wait on the line. So yeah, oh, she sent me a message. Kevin Estrella is the other guest that's coming on. That's confirmed. So we'll have to get the exact date. Actually, I have it all on the website, so you can go to uotf.net, www.uotf.net for current schedule, and it gives it to you in your own time zone, which is helpful. All right. So other than that, Eileen's here. We will be, tomorrow is Eileen, I think. Is Paulo coming on with us tomorrow night? I believe he is, right? So it'll be 3 of us tomorrow chatting it up. I think we're covering manifestation, if I'm not mistaken. And of course we can actually do this tonight if you guys can send your prayers and thoughts to the people in New Zealand. I think that's huge right now. They're going through a lot down there, so we send some loving vibes their way, some prayers. Yeah, it's really odd. And then I guess the weather's kind of toning down now, huh? It was getting pretty crazy up in Colorado and stuff, so now we got to deal with flooding and always something exciting going on. See if I got this still rolling here. The soothing sounds of the Wingmakers. Okay, we want to go back to the phone lines. 360 area code. Who am I talking to? You're live. Shinty, how are you?
Good. How are you doing?
Oh, doing wonderful. Thanks for calling in and not being a stranger. I've been wanting to talk to you.
I just, I've been listening to you when I'm working in the middle of the night, but I really enjoy your shows.
Oh, awesome. I'm glad you like them. Are you going to be able to make it out to ECETI when we're up there?
I don't know. This is what I've been telling my friends. See where the wind blows me, right?
Yeah.
If it's meant to be, I'll be there.
Exactly. How long of a drive is it for you?
I think maybe about 3 hours or so, but everything depends on my kids' schedule.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Any of your kids awake and aware?
Well, one of them is still at a tennis tournament right now. The other one is enjoying his Friday night out from his mommy.
Oh, really?
I don't give him homework on Fridays. Friday and Saturday is his time. He can play iPad or watch show. But the rest of the week, there's no iPad or shows. So he's enjoying his movie right now.
Well, it sounds like he'd probably be into UFOs, right?
Well, sometimes he talks to me about that he can see colors around people.
Oh, auras. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. And you know, we kind of enjoy watching him talking about it because he was like, oh, the color changed. And I'll explain to him, you know, he says, beautiful color, but sometimes it's a bit brownish. And I'm going like, that's okay. That means they have fear or something needs to be cleaned out. So I'll, you know, tell him to imagine a special wand that he can just go and clean it out like a broom or a vacuum.
Oh.
He's only 8, so.
Oh, wow.
Gotta do the how, yeah.
That's
But
awesome
I
that
wanna
you're developing them like that, though, because you know, I think one of the reasons we've been held back for so long is because of, you know, for whatever reason our parents said stop. You're just imagining things and things like that. So it's cool that you're like letting him hone those skills instead of suppressing them. You know.
Yeah, because I think, you know, a lot of times, honestly, we are all born with those skills, but slowly it gets dampened and closed off. And that's something, it's not beneficial for our kids. So I really encourage them to open up.
Yeah.
But it only up to their comfort level, like my, you know, middle kid. She's never comfortable with it, but she's comfortable with fairies and nature spirits, but she's not comfortable seeing anything else. Or ETs.
Right.
Anytime I tell her about, do you see that cloud that looks funny? She's like, no, don't go there, Mom. I'm going, okay. So that's that. But couple of questions for you.
Mm-hmm.
Have you or any of your, you know, audience or your friends, this is something happened to me lately.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like watching everything around me from a third-person point of view. It's almost like I'm especially calm.
Yes. Yeah, I've
you
definitely noticed that. Yeah, I've noticed that. I do that a lot now when whenever somebody maybe says something that offends me, you take that step back real fast and see it from this higher view instead of getting triggered by it, because that's what triggers you when you're in it, you know?
Well, another thing is like, so my middle child, who's going to be 16 in May, she had her teenage meltdown 2 nights in a row.
Yeah.
So we told our son, don't poke the porcupine, leave her alone. And then we just watch her having that meltdown. But my husband and I, we weren't even affected by it. We just sit there and watch her and stand there and watch her until she finally realized, you know, she cannot piss us off or irritate us. She's like, I'm done with you guys. And my husband and I just looked at each other like, wow, that's interesting.
Yeah, it is
then,
weird,
you know,
how when you don't engage, it's a completely different experience.
Yeah,
isn't
it calms her down quite a bit, and then later on she will come and just kind of apologize. And, you know, it's one thing that I'm not quite sure. I just noticed there's a very subtle change within me. It's just really calm and easygoing. It's almost like a, what do you call it? I mean, that surrendering state.
Mm-hmm.
Just let things happen and then just, you know, enjoy the show.
Yeah.
That's how I feel.
Mm-hmm.
Anywho, hey, I wanted
that's
to talk
awesome.
about a dream that I have, actually twice.
Oh, really? Wow.
It's like, yeah, it's not 2 nights in a row, but within few days.
Mm-hmm.
So I was showing up at my junior high classroom, and all of my classmates are there. And the one that used to sit next to me, we get in trouble together all the time. But anyway, he turned around and said, oh, everybody's here, even our teacher, except Shanti. And I'm standing there. I noticed they were all sitting down. And, you know, in Taiwan, our junior high classroom size is like 45 students per class. Anyway, I was standing at the back of the classroom wondering, what the heck is he talking about? Like, you know, I'm missing. And then I noticed there were a bunch of white beans surrounding the edge of the classroom inside. And they couldn't see them, but I could see them. So I turned around and asked the white bean, why can't he see me? And then the white bean is kind of like a mental communication. Say, they can't see us either, but this is an introduction class.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, introduction for what? They said, for the future. So
that's weird.
I woke up from that dream, and the next time I was in that dream again, I know right away what's happening. So I'm just going like, I turn around and ask the being, I said, exactly what future? And why am I not in the class? He says, you are in the class, but you're not a part of the class. You're watching how it's progressing.
Mm.
So I was just like, oh, okay, never mind. So I'm just watching my classmates. It's almost like they're being introduced to a new way of living almost like new way of developing their skills.
Yeah.
Or like get in touch with your higher self.
That's interesting.
And I was, that's like 2 nights in a row, and I'm just going like, that's interesting. I have enough, and then I just let it go.
That's strange. So it was the same exact place, but it was almost like you picked up where you left off with the conversation.
Exactly. I have dreams like those, so I don't have to repeat, because I find it's, like my conscious, sometimes you don't know. For me, sometimes dreams, there's different meanings, but sometimes I recognize it's a continuing dreams, so I take the opportunity, just go on about it.
Yeah.
That's how I, but have you noticed, I don't know how you feel about this, lately I find myself to work on my past, to forgive people that I thought I had forgive, but there's still a little bit residence left.
Yeah.
And then instead of forgiving them, I actually see from their point of view and understanding where they're coming from, and I release it.
Yeah. Yeah, because everyone has their perspective, and they feel right with how they responded,
Yeah, because I was talking to my husband. You know that movie, Unbroken? Road to Redemption. It's based on true story about this runner that he was in POW camp during World War II in Japan. Anyway, so he was going through those traumas after the war,
Right.
And I was talking to my husband, and I say, for many years, I have nightmares about my childhood. And I say, I release it and make peace with it and let it go, because I basically made peace with the person. But I have never stepped one step further and see from his point of view.
Yeah.
And then I told my husband, I say, now I understand where he's coming from.
Yeah.
And it's just the way it is. I don't play blaming games or, self-pity games. It's just a lesson. Okay, I learned it, and I just release it.
Yeah.
And it's so empowering. Once forgiving somebody is great, but once I notice when I see from that person's point of view, it's a different level that I reach myself to. It's just really profounding, and it's almost like I'm watching a movie from different character.
It's life-changing, isn't it?
Yeah, and I'm able to. Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say what you're talking about is that line of insight that I got that made me create this channel as it is. Because it's like it allows you to tear down the walls that. And that's an extension to what you're talking about with forgiveness or whatever, but just with worldviews is how it applied for me. That really gave me that insight, but it applies to forgiveness and really anything where you have a problem with the interaction of another, is to just really see it from their point of view. Even if you see it from your point of view as a wrong point of view, you can still see it as it was right. They felt wronged or whatever in that specific situation or whatever it is. If you're able to take an honest view from their position, from where they're at with their knowledge or whatever's going on, then it allows you to just love them for the person they are and understand where they're at in their journey and not really judge them, just be okay with them. So that's that whole line of thinking you're talking about.
Yeah, non-judgmental and learn from their experience,
Yeah.
And I find that so empowering. It's almost like I gain another level of wisdom that I didn't know it was there. Compassion, you know what I mean? It is really, it's a good feeling.
Yeah, it really is.
And that led me to talk to my husband about my biological father. And I was talking to my husband, and I'm going, well, now I understand why he was the way he was. And I say, I never hated him, but now I understand from his point of view. And I say, I just hope wherever he is right now, he finally find that peace and love that he's been searching for all his life.
Yeah.
It was such a peace and profound feeling. I just kind of like I don't know. I just felt like I was smoking weed or something. I don't know. But anyway, that was just one of those things I noticed lately. I just kind of look at things from that person's point of view, why they act the way they do, and I'm just showing compassion, and then I don't hate them or I don't hold grudges. I just let it be, and just in that surrendering state, it's a good feeling. It really is.
Yeah, it is.
Anyway.
It's liberating.
Oh, yes, it is. And, it's another thing is like, what I was going to say, sometimes with life, it doesn't go the way you want, especially between husband and wife, right?
Right.
Because we are two different people. Let's put it that way, But recently I told my husband, because there's certain things, I don't know about you guys, but there's at a job that he is at, he can still feel certain discrimination. Mm-hmm. And then there's certain things that he is angry about, or this and that. And I say, I support whatever decision you make, but when you make them, be at with it. If you don't be at peace with it, then this problem is going to come back around.
Yeah.
And I basically just told him, I say, if it's going to take you 1 month to finish this project or 10 years, I'm going to support you because it's your journey. And I'm standing next to you as your partner, and we'll do it all together.
Yeah.
And it's a release instead of, try to get somebody on or whatever. It's a really, really good feeling.
It really is.
Anyway.
Yeah, it releases you from all of that stuff that normally pulls you down,
Yeah, that's how I feel. It's just kind of like, I don't know, lately I just feel like there's that surrendering and just like let the universe guide me where I need to go, and I just let it be. Oh, so one thing. So I was at a Reiki group today. We had a new lady there. And then, the first time I met her, and I just kind of feel like this energy is a bit strange, a bit different, but also very familiar.
Mm-hmm.
Never met her. So we have like 5 of us, 1 on the table, the other 4, standing, give the person on the table Reiki. Mm-hmm. I was the last person on the table. I specifically asked her to work on my head. Oh my gosh. It's almost like she was reading my mind and I was reading her mind. And then afterwards, I asked her privately, I said, your energy is very ancient. I don't know why. I recognize that energy, and it's very ancient. It's very familiar. And she looked at me. She said, I have went and saw a Reiki master one time, and she told me in my previous life I was an energy worker and other stuff. And how did you know that? I said, I don't know, but it's just something I recognized right away.
Wow. I love that.
That felt. Yeah, because I asked them to remove the blockage and activate. We set an intention. As she was working on my third eye, she did not touch my head. She hovered above it. I can feel something was being cracked open. And I'm just kind of like, this is very, very strange, but I'm just going to let it flow.
Yeah.
I'm going like, as stubborn as I am, I'm just going to surrender and let it do, because somehow I trust her. I trust her energy, so I just let it be.
Yeah, that's how it was with Atsuko when I got that session with her. It was very powerful. I didn't know you'd actually be able to really feel something. I just figured, it was a bunch of invisible stuff going on, but I actually felt it. It was incredible.
Oh yeah, I love Reiki. I learned Reiki myself, and I'm learning another style of Reiki. First, I thought energy healing is energy healing, but there's different styles. Since I learned this second set for free, so I might as well learn them. Somebody's offering for free. I was like, yeah, I'll learn it from you, I don't mind. So I learned it from her, and it's a different set, and the energy coming in is a bit different. This second set is more based on traditional Japanese Reiki. Mm-hmm. The first set I learned from Reiki master is Reiki too, but she teaches it through more like intuition.
Right.
Those two styles, and then I find both of them works really well, but I like the intuition one better, but I also like to get free lessons. Right. One of those things, I'm going, I'm good to go,
Yeah.
Anyway,
I actually have heard that people that take classes like that, because they all practice on each other, a lot of times they'll get activations during it and stuff. I think that's really cool.
Well, I took I finished all the Reiki classes, and then my master was offering new ones, and I'm like, oh, I just want to see if when she do the attunement for level 1, if it make any difference, you know.
Yeah.
So before I went to the level 1 class again, I set intention what I want out of the class, and when she attuned me, boy, something at the back of my head felt like somebody is scratching something off the back of my head. And my Reiki master, what was your intention? I said, awaken the ancient knowledge. And she says, oh, interesting. Because I was telling her, somebody scratching the back of my head. She said, that's where the ancient knowledge usually stored, the past lives.
Oh,
and
wow.
she says, yeah. So that was that. But I really enjoyed talking to you. Yeah.
Yeah.
And,
so have you got to try this ancient stuff on anybody or anything yet?
Well, I do it on my husband because he's usually my guinea pig.
Yeah. That's cool that he'll do that, though, you know.
You know, he usually fell asleep, so he doesn't really care and he doesn't mind, but he can definitely sleep better when I give him Reiki. And I go to my neighbor and give her Reiki, too. I'm just kind of like, you know, I'm a hermit. I like it, hang out by myself. I think when it's time, I will be coming forward to help more people, but right now I'm just being a hermit, learning more stuff. Because the more I learn, I realize the less I know.
Yeah, that's so true.
It's a very humbling experience. So that's that. Anywho, I'm going to let somebody else bug you because I'm pretty sure a lot of people just love to talk to you.
Actually, we don't have anybody waiting.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
No,
Actually, no, we do have.
I really enjoy other people talking to you, too.
Okay, well, don't be a stranger, okay?
All right, I'll call you back from time to time, and you have a wonderful night, and thank you for everything that you're doing.
Oh, no problem. Thank you, Shanti. It's my pleasure.
All right, we'll talk to you later.
Okay, bye-bye. Thanks for calling.
Bye-bye.
This is Shane with Unbiased and On the Fence. You're listening to the Friday Night Love Stream on Oneness Talk Radio. Going back to the phone lines, 727 area code. Who am I speaking with?
Hi, this is Cheryl.
Hey, Cheryl, you said?
Hi. Oh, my God. I can't believe I got through. This is my first time calling.
Oh, welcome to the program.
Thank you. I've been listening for months. And I just feel
Do you chat ever?
No, not
oh, okay,
much.
good.
Maybe a couple of times.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure. Okay, so Cheryl, with a C or an S?
I see. And, you know, I always chat through email with Michelle Wolf.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so her and I, Michelle and I chat a lot on email, and I'm an avid listener of Aluna Ash.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm just, she's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And anyways, I always wanted to talk to you. I just been going through all the things that everyone talks about.
Mm-hmm.
With the Mandela effect.
Right. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's a big one, huh?
Yeah.
Was that a mind blower for you?
Yeah, it was. And hang on, I'm going to shut off my other phone.
Oh, yeah. Or you can mute it.
Yeah, my other phone. Yeah, I'm going to mute it. So,
It's a huge delay, isn't it?
Yeah, it was. So I just so the Mandela effect was big for me as well. And when I started listening to you and hearing the Mandela effect, I went, oh my gosh, I've been saying all that stuff too. And for you to reaffirm that, it was great.
Okay, so you were noticing the changes but didn't realize there was this thing called the Mandela effect that people talk about?
Right. I didn't know what it was called. I was experiencing it personally.
That's why I try to bring it up often, because I know there's certain people that, they've noticed stuff, and I can imagine if I was older and I was seeing stuff, I'm like, man, am I losing my mind? Why is stuff changing in an impossible way? So I always try to mention it just so if people notice it, they're not freaking out. It's not in your head. It's really something weird going on,
Right, and I'm 52, so I've had all these experiences and things that are changing. So what I wanted to talk to you, especially because I listen to you guys all the time, I agree with everything everyone's going through. Mm-hmm. But I've been going through this, like I was saying, I was 52, mm-hmm. and I've been going through this for many years. And now that I'm at the point that I'm at, I look back in my life to see, where it all started. And
mm-hmm.
I was just wondering, I haven't heard this on your show, but do you remember the book, The Celestine Prophecy?
Yes, from the 90s. I just recently read that book.
You did? Oh, see, that's amazing. I read it when it first came out, and it mm-hmm. was one of those synchronicity things.
Right.
I was just going along in my life, very lost, had a breakup, and going back to college, starting my life again, and I was just sitting on a bench next to an elderly woman, mm-hmm. and I noticed she was reading this book called Celestine Prophecy. And I didn't ask her about it. I just glanced and I saw what she was reading. And it kind of piqued my interest. I don't know why. But then I went to a store a couple of days later, and this book stood out at me, Celestine Prophecy, and it was like on sale for like $5. I don't know why. I just picked it up. And I'm going to tell you what. I could not put it down. I read it from cover to end mm-hmm. in one night, and it resonated with me so much. And that began, and I was in my early 20s.
Oh, wow.
So it just, everything about it was crazy. And then I couldn't wait till, like, they had, the 9th sign and the 10th sign. I couldn't
mm-hmm.
wait to read that. And then they had a movie come out. And everything was just clicking with me, resonating with me. So is that something, you say you just read that recently?
Oh, yeah. It's a must-read for anybody who hasn't read it. And I would even say people that read it way back then, it would still, if it didn't mean much to you, or even, if it's been a while, it would be worth revisiting again.
Yeah, because that's when it all started with, when they were actually, the movie that I saw, even though I read the book, it was awesome, but then when that little movie came out, they were actually showing all our energy around us, our aura, our energy, and it was showing when you got close to another person, how another person could steal your energy.
Yeah.
And then it was showing when you were standing next to, someone positive, like how your energy field could grow.
Yeah.
And get better. And then it was showing how if you really raised all group together at the end of the movie, it showed how they were running from, like, bad people.
Right. They were able to be invisible.
Yeah, when they went invisible.
Yeah.
And that was, like, about vibration and frequency, right? Because that's how we know that the UFOs and stuff do that, by vibration and frequency, how they can
mm-hmm.
appear
Phase
and
out.
disappear and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that was so many years ago that this book was written and the movie.
It probably seemed ridiculous back then, didn't
it? But for whatever reason,
you resonated with it, huh?
It resonated big with me. And then what happened with me was I was, like I said, I had gotten a divorce and I had a small child and I had to move back with my parents. And so I was going back to school. And then while I was going to school, I joined a temp agency. Okay, so where I was going for school for, my vision was I was going to work in this big, glamorous office, you know, for this top executive and have this great life. And so when I joined the temp agency, I went to this international company, and sure enough, I got the job, and I was on the top floor with this high exec in this beautiful office that I loved. Mm-hmm. So then I had the strongest dream I've ever had in my life, and I actually, when I woke up, I wrote it down because it was so real and so strong. What it was I was going into a laboratory, and it was all, you know, it looked like a laboratory with all the, you know, laboratory things, and then my boss took me to another office, and he says, I want you to meet your coworkers. And when they opened the door, it was a very distinct room with, there was 2 desks facing each other, and there was men, one on the left, one on the right, and their desks were facing each other, and the whole room was all these books and books. It was just lined with books. And it was just so real. And he introduced me to the men and said I was going to be working with them. And when I woke up, it was so real. I wrote it down, but I said, there's no way that's possible because I would never be working in a place like that. I wanted to have a high-level job in an executive office. So I joined the temp agency. They got me the job. I was working for this gentleman. And within the first week, he was traveling all the time. And when he came back, I asked him, while you're gone, I have nothing to do. Is there something else I can do in the department? And he said, okay, yeah, I understand. Don't you know it? He takes me to the bottom floor where the manufacturing was happening. He took me into a lab. I started getting goosebumps all over when I saw the lab. He opens the door, and it was just like my dream. The 2 men in there with their desks facing each other, and the whole walls were lined with books.
Oh, my God.
It was exactly like my dream. And so that's what happens to me. I have dreams that are so real. Every once in a while, I actually write them down because it could happen a week later, it could happen a month later, but it happens.
That's wild. Yeah, so I bet you enjoy Michelle then, because she's had something like that too, so you guys got that in common. That's really neat.
Yeah, Michelle is like awesome. We have a real connection, and then it's just so weird. Like every time I find someone on YouTube that I really connect with and I feel good, it seems like a few days later you have them on your show.
Oh, really?
And it always happens like that. I'm like, I find someone, I listen to their videos, I connect, and then you like have them on your show. Love the guy from Indigo Light.
Yep.
You've had him on your show.
Yep. Yeah, he's awesome. I just saw a video out by him I need to go watch. I'm like, I got to go check that video out.
I know, and he's so, like, I connect with him, too. I just feel like some of these people, like Luna Ash and him, they're speaking directly to me, what I'm going through right now, and it just, like, really uplifts me. And I've gone through other things that you have been talking about. Honestly, for a year, I would go to sleep. I don't care if it was like a nap in the middle of the day or at night. I wake up with these leaky ears. My ears would be wet. And I go, what the heck is going on, right? And I talk to my friends and family. I'm like, what does this mean? Well, yeah, I'm ready to call a doctor. Is my brain's leaking?
Right.
and then I hear a show, like what you do, whatever. You know, the headaches, the ringing in the ears. Then I hear, especially Michelle said, leaky ears. My ears have been leaking, you know?
Yeah.
And you feel like, oh, my God, it's not just me. This is really happening to other people.
Yeah, it happens. to who's the N5D guy, Prescott. It happened. He mentioned it waking up, and he goes, and don't worry, because he's like, on the beach or whatever. He's like, I haven't been out in the water. It's not just ocean water leaking out of my ears. It's for real leaking. And then other people were chiming in the chat because it was a live stream when he was talking about it, and other people were having it too. So yeah, it's strange. I haven't noticed anything, but I don't know that I would,
It was for a year before I found out, like on your show or from other people, that it was I kept saying, what is going on? My ears are wet and leaking. And, you start to go like, is this from like when I took a shower? What is going on?
Right, because it's like clear and watery, right? It's not like earwax. It's like clear and watery.
Exactly. There's nothing. It's just you feel like when you wake up, it's leaky. But it was everything. It was the ring. It's been the ringing in the ears, the headaches. I was so glad when you were starting to post. I forgot the name of that thing, but it shows the energy spike.
Oh, yeah. Well, the Schumann resonance. Yeah.
Yes. And I could go by it, like, you have a time lapse, you do a show, whatever, but I didn't see the show like that day or hours later, and I had the whole day, my body was like vibrating, and I had all these feelings and like just a lot of anxiety, and my body was vibrating and everything. Sure enough, I would go to the show, or I went to that app that you said, and it showed a huge spike in the energy.
Yeah, that's wild, isn't it?
I said, I knew it. I'm feeling all this stuff. And, you think you're going crazy. Yeah. You think there's something medically wrong with you, like, am I having anxiety attacks? It is a panic attack. And all I have to do is go listen either to your show or go on the app. And Michelle talks about it a lot, too. So that's all I have to do is, like, when I'm feeling this, I go on, and you guys verify, no, there was a huge spike.
Yeah.
And it just validates what you're going through.
I've even had headaches that coincided with it. So I think sometimes you respond in different ways,
Yes, was the headache, the ringing in the ears.
Yeah, and the ringing in the ears and all of that stuff. But we're connected. So, it's like the heartbeat of the earth,
I know, and I was going through some stuff yesterday, or this, I don't know if it was yesterday or this morning. You put out a quick 15-minute video about the superconsciousness.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that was ironic really because I was like fading out the intro, and it was like at 15:20, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to fade it out at 15:15. It's sometimes you're put in striking distance of a synchronicity, and I was even talking to somebody, I'm like, you got to kind of use those co-creative powers. I mean, you get synchronicities all the time, but sometimes it seems like you're set up to create one. Like I might be going off the air and I can end it a second or two early and end it on a synchronicity. So I don't plan it or anything, but it's there at that moment. I'm like, oh, wow. And it's like this co-creative. It's like the next step in the synchronicity thing. And it's just for you because people will just be like, oh, you're just making stuff up, but I was talking about synchronicities, and then here it ends at like 15:20, and it was so funny because on the intro I've got enough of the outro that I can just shave off a little bit of it. It doesn't matter, but it was set up in that way, and I was like, oh, that's so neat. That's cool the way that happens. You reminded me of that when you said it was 15 minutes long, by the way. It's like, oh yeah, it's 15:50.
Well, I was just thinking quickly, but yeah, it really helped me. It was just something I really needed to hear at that moment. I've been going through a lot of stuff, and so that I have not been on YouTube a lot lately, not like I used to be, but when I'm having these feelings and things that are coming up, I said, okay, I'm going to go on YouTube. And it's like whatever video I pick at the time tells me what I need to hear. That helps me. And I'm going to say that yours really helped me a lot when I heard it. I said, oh, I have really got to try and talk I've been listening to you for like a year. I'm like, I got to try and talk to him because it meant so much. It just changed my whole day and what I was thinking and feeling, because whatever you said, I felt like I was the recipient of the information. Like it was something I needed to hear, and it helped me so much.
And that's funny because it gets back to this, and thank you for that, by the way. It gets me back to this whole Celestine prophecy thing, and how when you're paying attention, you do see these things align in a certain way, and you do get those messages like that really feel like they apply to what you're dealing with at the moment. And I know when I'm taking that session that, this higher source knows that I'm going to ask for permission because it applies to everyone, and I'm going to put it out, and then it does go out, and it's like there's this higher agency at work. I know a lot of times people say, well, the YouTube algorithms are running things, but I think that stuff can be overridden by the higher forces and get you the video you need to see and stuff. I don't worry about those things because I know I get the stuff I need to see when I need to see it. I can see this whole thing working. So while I know there's some kind of YouTube algorithm that tries to push certain stuff, I don't worry about that. I know I'm going to get the right thing. Yeah.
Yes, and I'm going to tell you that so many people here, maybe not all the people join the chat like me for a year. I didn't join the chat. I didn't call. I didn't do anything. But they're listening all the time, and you're helping so many people. And every time you bring on a guest, it's like I said, it's so bizarre. I just find someone on the internet that I connect with, and a few days later, you have them on your show. And I'm like, synchronicity. It can't be like that,
Yeah.
But I was also, when I was bringing up the Celestine prophecies, because that, to me, is when it all started. And I think we all went through the levels. Like, we went through Dr. Wayne Dyer. We went through The Secret and the Law of Attraction. And it was all building up to where we're going now. It was little steps. But it just, where I am now, well, I just want to tell you that my major person in my whole life, of course, is Dolores Cannon. She's my
I love her.
Ultimate hero, and she got me so hooked. And I'm also a hypnotherapist and love Ellis and Co. So it just, all this from my 20s, and I'm 52 now, I've been just doing these baby steps. It might have taken me years in between where nothing happened. And then I got connected to something else and connected to something else. And it's just all been leading up to where we are now. And, but it's true too, Shane, like I have so many people around me that have no clue of any of this.
Yeah.
So I can't even talk to them. I ask them, do you know who Dolores Cannon is? Have you heard of her? Have you heard of this person? Have you heard of that person? They have no clue about anything that's going on, that nobody's awakened yet. So thank God I have people like you and all the other people on YouTube, because no one in my real life here has any clue. So that makes it hard for me.
Yeah, a lot of people are like that. If we didn't have this group, it'd be like we're just kind of out in the wilderness by ourselves. So this is cool. I'm glad.
And when you were talking about on your video about we are all really connected, and it made you realize how we are, I wish we could call it this, some kind of summit. Do this like huge summit where we could all join together, hold hands, and have the same thought, put the same thought out, so that whatever this event is or whatever, we could boost it and make it happen faster. I just keep feeling like that, like we need this big summit.
Yeah. And we could do one in each country or something, That's kind of how I was picturing the whole ESETI thing, but I never thought that would be cool if we can get people to schedule something and somewhere in Europe and maybe a few places in Europe, South America, and Canada.
Definitely here in the United States, and I know you've done a couple of trips recently that, when you went, Sedona?
Yeah, Sedona, and then Austin for New Year's, we all did that. But we could have had a few different hubs, people, so they don't have to go so far. We should have planned on something. New Year's would have been a good one to have some meetups all over.
I just have this. Yeah, I have this vision of us all being in a circle, everyone holding hands, and just put your whole thought into the same purpose, and that how we know it makes a difference. We know we can change. People talk about how when you do that, crime goes down. When they have these big prayer circles, crime goes down during that time. I've personally seen when you can heal someone. My sister had one of her good friends that was dying of cancer, and she only had a few hours to live. And we were all, they were big into the church and religion and all that, and they wanted to pray over her. And we were all in a room, and we all laid hands on her, and we all had the same purpose. And believe me, the next day, she felt so much better, and she was telling the doctor, no, you have to test me. And they did tests on her. Her cancer was gone.
Oh, wow.
And if I hadn't been part of it and seen it for my own self, I would have never believed it. Yeah. I mean, you hear stories like that, but I believe everyone had hands on her, and I believe we energy healed her. I think we all have the same. Yeah, and I've seen it happen. If I didn't see it for myself, I guess I wouldn't have believed it. But it really did happen. And I'm not the religious person. I'm the spiritual person and believes more in the science and, quantum physics and all that. I'm not a person that goes to church. And so for us all to be laying hands on her and all thinking the same thing and healed her, I'm a believer.
Oh, totally.
I've seen it with my own.
And I think a lot of times it happens that way in religion, and we just sort of, we think, wow, well, that happened there. That must be a real thing. But it's really the people, you know what I mean? And
it intention. Is. It's the intention. It's your thoughts that we keep saying happen. You could put whatever label you want on it. If they want to call it prayer, then it's prayer. If, we call it something else, meditation or intention, or it doesn't matter what you call it. It's all happening.
Yeah. That's why I'll often say prayer and meditation, because, I feel like someone doing their prayers, they're using the same mechanism in just a completely different way in their mind, their perspective on it. But I think it's something very real happens, or people wouldn't go to church and have what they call religious experiences. I don't believe,
I believe just going into that church and having everyone in there and holding hands and saying prayer is their just, it's their thoughts and their energy, just as if any group of people would get together, holding hands, praying, focusing on the same thought. It helps everyone. That's why you feel so much better when you leave church. You feel uplifted and positive, because we're all bringing that to the table and sharing it in our energy. I don't know. I just was thinking about all the steps it took me to get here today, and every person that came along the way. But I do remember it started with the Celestine prophecy.
Yeah.
And I was so grateful that happened in my life. And then the other books came out, and then the movie. And it's all, even though it was all those years ago, it's exactly what we're talking about today.
Exactly. And don't you feel like a lot of times you ended up here like you were helped along your path? Like you didn't consciously, you weren't aiming for where you're at right now, right? I mean, things just worked out for you on a higher level?
Absolutely. It was just coincidence, as they say, or synchronicity. Like just sitting and on a bench, and that person on the side of me was reading the book, Celestine Prophecy. It was just that.
And that's what I typically will refer to when people sort of get uneasy about where we're at and how things are unfolding. I'm like, we made it where we're at right now out of pure ignorance, really. I mean, we had all these little things happening, and luckily we followed the sign, but we're at a place now, and it's clear that, we had help getting here. So I don't worry about the future. I'm like, the same power that got us to this moment will move us into the future. There's really nothing to fear, no matter what things look like, and you don't have to be a part of all the chaos. And so that really it's really liberating when you start to realize that, you can just actually enjoy the game rather than getting worried about what might be tomorrow or whatever.
I know. I'm trying to be relaxed. Here's a major thing that bothers me. I just love all these people that they're all getting downloads and channeling, and it's all happening. And I'm a hypnotherapist. And the disappointing thing is I, do self-hypnosis all the time, or if you want to call it meditation, and I do all that. I'm going to tell you what, I am not connected at all. I don't know why. I don't feel like I'm getting any messages from my higher self. I am not getting any downloads or any, and I spend hours a day just meditating or self-hypnosis, whatever you want to call it. I've been doing it for years, and I got to tell you, I get nothing, zip. And I'm like, what is wrong with me? Like, what is the blockage? Now, that's one thing. I'm not getting any direct connection like a lot of other people are. But to me, it's happening in a different way. To me, I'm getting all my messages through YouTube, and all the people like you and Allison Coe and, Dolores Cannon and all them. I'm getting all my information through them. But you
have those confirmation feelings when it resonates with you. You can feel that you were led to that information. You know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I get obsessed with it. I hear it and it resonates so bad. I'm like, I feel like they're talking directly to me, whatever. But that's the other part of it, is that I feel like I should have this direct connection and get these downloads, these channelings. I'm into it 3-4 hours a day, doing it, and nothing has ever happened. But I feel like, well, it's just not meant to happen this way. There's a reason for it. I have some kind of blockage, but there's a reason. I don't know what it is, and maybe I'm not supposed to know, but I'm getting my info from another source. So that's the good part.
Well, just to set your mind at ease, Cheryl, I feel the exact same way all of the time. I mean, that's why I said that part about the cloudiness. It feels like maybe it might seem from the outside like I get all these experiences, but I always feel like everyone else has all these experiences, and I get a little bitty something here and there, but not really. Like, it's like you look back on it and you're like, oh, I was helped there and I didn't realize it. It's not, I want to realize in the now, like, that was a download. That was from a higher source, not like accidentally stumble on something and then be like, oh yeah, I was shown that,
Well, I want to tell you what I feel like I know I've been listening to this for years and learning and growing and learning and growing, but I had something, major happen to me in December. Now, I had a few years ago moved to Florida, and my mother was getting older, and she really convinced me to take her with me. And I did take her with me, and it turns out that she got very sick and died of cancer. And then I had my 2 small dogs. Their names were Cotton and Candy, and they were these little Maltese, and I got them from a few weeks old, and I've had them for 13 years. And right after my mom passed away, my little girl Candy passed away suddenly, and I was absolutely devastated.
I'm sorry to hear that. That's horrible, losing a kid.
Oh, I'm sorry. No, it's not, my daughter. It was my dog.
Oh, no.
Girl.
I have
No,
two dogs.
but still,
yeah.
they're like family members, though. Yeah, I totally
They
know.
are my baby.
Yeah.
They were my whole life. And then in December, Cotton, he passed away right after. I think he was just so depressed and devastated by Candy dying that I knew he wasn't going to hold on much longer. But here's the thing that happened is that...
Quickly, though, I wanted to chime in. My dog that I grew up with, name was Candy, and I dealt with the same thing. That's just that weird synchronicity with the name, though, growing up, you know. And, like, I knew that dog from the moment. I couldn't remember a time when we didn't have Candy, so when we lost her, it was devastating for me, you know. I would always think I saw her out of the corner of my eye and stuff. Now I realize I probably was seeing her ghost, you know what I mean? I'm like, wow, I thought I saw Candy there, you know.
Yeah, she absolutely does come to me in my dreams. And I actually put that intention out all the time before I go to sleep, asking her to come in my dream. So not all the time, but sometimes she does. But that was just really super devastating. It just happened, like Cotton passed away in December. So it all happened very quick. My mom, Candy, Cotton, and my whole life got taken away from me instantly. And what happened was when Cotton passed away very quickly, I took him to the vet, and I didn't have much money. And whatever money I had, I gave to them to find out what was wrong with him. And so, you know, the testing cost a lot. They just said to me, you know, we're really sorry, but he's in liver failure, and there's nothing you can do. So, of course, I was devastated, and I didn't want him to suffer. So I had to put him to sleep. But here's the thing. I had, like, zero, you know, no funds left over. So it cost $250 for the vet. I had a wonderful woman come to my home, let him lay in bed with me. She came to my home and did it really sweetly in his bed. And then to cremate was another $250. So the vet bills and all of this, I had to put him asleep. You know what? The only money I had was my rent money. And he was my world, and I just gave it. And I was in a huge, you know, apartment complex, and I called them and let them know what was going on. They didn't care. They gave me an eviction notice 10 days later. So they passed away. I was grieving. I really couldn't work that week, and I got evicted. And that's it. I was homeless, and my dogs passed away. My life passed away. And that takes you down to everything. You know, everything in my world got taken away. And I cried, of course, but, you know, I just kept going back on, you know, some of your shows and everyone else's videos that I listened to and hearing a lot of the stories, and I just felt like this is what needed to happen. I needed to be taken down to the bare bone, my whole life and world taken apart. And I don't know. It's a learning thing, you know, a building thing. It's just something that needed to happen, I guess.
Yeah, did you have like a dark night of the soul from that?
Oh, dark.
That's where
darkness.
You just felt. Yeah, that's a lot of people before they have this huge awakening kind of go through this really dark period. It's like the night before the dawn.
I'm not ashamed to say there was the crying and, you know, wanting to take your life, saying, there's nothing, look, you've taken everything from me.
Yeah.
I have nothing else left.
Yeah.
Just please take. And the fact that we know what's on the other side or on the, you know, in the next dimension, you know, you want them to take the pain away. You want to go to the other side so badly. Like, you know, that's the hard part now is like we're so aware of how good it is on the other side, and it's so the veil is so thin, and we're like right on the cusp of getting into the next dimension and everything being really wonderful.
Yeah.
So
why wouldn't we want to be on the other side?
I think that's sort of the part of it, though, Cheryl, is that you get to this point where you want to go so bad that you no longer fear death. I think that's a huge part of what they call the dark night of the soul, because that's when I never became suicidal, but I sure didn't want to live anymore. I was just like, oh, it'd be so much better just to transition, you know, and I never really understood people that felt like that before. But after that, I can totally relate now, you know.
Well, after what I just went through, yeah, I never, you know, yes, we all have really bad times and disappointments and heartaches, but this was really cut me deep to the soul, where the first time I was on my knees begging God to take me. Like, it would be so much better on the other side than this. Like, I felt like this world was crap, and why would I want to be here? And sometimes I think, Shane, too, is that that's why they keep things from us. Like, we don't want to sound conspiracy theory stuff like that, but I have talked to Linda Moulton Howe. I've talked to her several times, and we've discussed this, that maybe that's why they keep things from us. Like, if we knew how easy it was to cross over to the next dimension, where it's so much easier, you know, it's pure love. There's no sickness. There's no, you know, like, we'd have this mass migration. Like, everyone want to step out, you know, everyone want to take off, you know. Yeah. But so we're considered a slave planet. We're all their slaves. So they don't want to have this. They don't want to tell us how to get into the next dimension. You know, it could be a simple thing that we're all supposed to know, but they've kept it from us because there'd be a mass migration, and, you know, that's some things I throw around too, that we're a slave planet, and they obviously they know how we get over to the other side easily, but they, you know, they don't want us to go there.
Yeah,
who would want to stay?
I think we can learn to escape the prison while we're still alive, though, you know, and that's sort of where I'm at right now, is realizing that everything that got me here, it's all about experience, you know, and it's, I don't know, I just see it from a higher perspective where I don't feel like I even have to get involved with a lot of the chaos that we see out there, you know.
I just see more people being more isolated. I'm hearing it from everyone. Everyone's feeling isolated and lonely. That's it. The only connection that they have is to people on the internet.
Yeah. That's why I think it's important that we meet, you know, even if people do little smaller groups. I mean, we do a Tulsa one every now and then, so I think people, you know, and I'll help promote it. If somebody wants to do one in their city, just let me know. And because I think it helps, even if it's every few months, to get together and just hang out and just talk to someone about what is normal to us anyway, you know. And
they're like, when did you go to Sedona?
Sedona was at the end of September, and then Austin was the New Year's.
I wanted to go there so bad because I always wanted to go to Sedona because I knew about the spiritual and all the, you know, all this stuff I've heard so much about. And then to know that you were there, and Allison Cove, and all the other people that I've listened to and admired, I had to go there. But there's just no way for me to get there. And I was just so disappointed. I'm like, I know I'm supposed to be there. I know this is where I'm supposed to be, but I couldn't.
Well, you're out on the East Coast, right, Cheryl?
Yes. I was living in Florida, but I'm homeless now, so I'm kind of traveling. I actually been traveling. I went back home to Rhode Island, where all my family and friends are my whole life. That was around Christmas time. I was there for a few weeks. But after I was, you know, grieving my dogs and stuff, I'm like, I don't know where I'm going. But I started traveling down the whole East Coast, state to state, and I've actually been Ubering my way down the coast, taking an Uber, stay at a state and whatever. And like I said, I'm a hypnotherapist, so I can work from anywhere. So but, just making enough money to travel. I'm going from state to state. And, people think that I should be doing this vlog or some kind of journal, journaling my way, because I'm just working my way down the East Coast, and I'm off the grid. I don't have a home. I'm just living out of hotels and meeting people and working, and I keep waiting for this miraculous thing to happen, or I'm supposed to meet this amazing person that changes things around, but that has not happened yet. So currently I'm in Charleston, South Carolina.
Okay, Charleston, South Carolina.
Yeah, and then tomorrow I'm leaving for Atlanta, Georgia, and then going to New Orleans. I'm just keep going, and I don't know, I feel like in a way I'm supposed to be on this journey, on this adventure, and just trying to find myself, but I just feel like at the end of it, I don't know, something really big's supposed to be happening.
That sounds really exciting, actually, that just traveling around like that. I think what would probably be a good idea is just, set up your YouTube account and send people there. Do you have one?
I don't. No, not really. I don't think so. I'm not very. I don't know much about. I'm like completely off the grid. I don't have an Instagram account, Twitter, or any of that. I just don't know much about this. I mean, I'm on YouTube all the time, but I don't know quite how everything works,
Well, on YouTube, you can just usually on the phone just hit go live if you got the YouTube app, and you could vlog, and then you could let people know what city you're going to be in, and that sounds like you could actually make that work pretty easily if, if people are coming on shows like this and people hear about where you're at. You could always call in and let people know, and we could, send people over to your channel, and you could just have your whole adventure paid for by just doing hypnosis sessions. Much easier than what you've been doing, I think.
Yeah, just working my way down, just making enough to pay for the hotels and food and, a little extra. And I'm trying to make enough money to go back to Florida and have my home. But you know what? I'm just going. At first, I was really depressed and crying all the time. But the more I went on, I'm feeling better and better and thinking it's a journey. And now I'm like kind of liking it now and accepting of it and going, okay, I'm going to go here. I'm going to go there next. And so it's just hard just because like my two dogs were my world and I stayed home all the time for them and to take care of them. But when they passed away, that was it. So it kind of felt like my children went off to college and I had empty nest syndrome, and now I got to live my next chapter of my life and rediscover myself. So that's how I'm looking at it. So
it looks like you're living out the whole Celestine prophecy in your own sort of way, just going wherever you're led, and you got some general ideas of where you're headed, and you're just, that sounds fun to me. I can't really do that with a family
a lot
or anything.
But listen, it takes a lot of courage. It's scary being alone, a woman, single, alone, just traveling by herself, going down state to state. And then I'm getting excited, like, look at all these states I've been in. Like, how many people would love to get an RV and just travel around the country? Don't you always hear people talking about that?
Oh, totally. Yeah, and it's a trust builder too, because you're living on trust. It's a good trust builder because you get to see that you actually have help and things keep lining up synchronistically for you. You're really living a synchronistic life. It sounds like a lot of fun. I know it could be scary, but at the same time, it sounds like it could be really free-filling. No ties.
And as you can tell, I'm a real talker, so I talk to everyone. And I've heard wonderful stories from all these Uber drivers. I've heard the most interesting stories from them. And then people in the hotels that I meet up with, and of course, my clients. But, I'm hearing all these stories and stuff. So I went from being a very lonely, isolated woman in her home with her two dogs to throw. That's what I'm saying. The universe just threw me out of my comfort zone and threw me way opposite. Just right across the whole opposite thing of.
It's like shoving you out of your empty nest is the picture I'm seeing. You know what I mean? Like they push the bird out to learn to fly, and you sort of got pushed out of your, you know, that's from your own description of it, you know. That's funny.
Holy smokes, it was that. like I just said, okay, universe, I get your messages, but did you have to be so harsh? Couldn't you have done it in a little more gentle way?
You never know. Probably tried. It's usually you get some easy options before that you're kind of forced to go the hard way, but you end up going where you need to go, and I see it as a big synchronistic thing happening. I think you'll look back on it and see, once you see enough things play out in your favor, and you'll realize how divinely orchestrated your whole life has been, you know?
I think you're right. I think I have to wait to the end of the journey to find out what the whole thing was, you know, about. You don't ever know what you're supposed to know at the time. It's when you look back. One of the other things that bother me, too, Shane, is that I never get those numbers. You guys always talk about the numbers. Like
the synchronicities.
111.
But you're getting the bigger synchronicities, you know, meeting the people that you meet. That's all in that same bucket of stuff, you know. The numbers are just little signposts. But I think, you know, I don't know. It's like the more you start seeing them, the more you'll see. But you're seeing them play out in the synchronistic ways you meet your clients, and that you're able to move about and things work out, you know.
Yeah. But yeah, I never saw the numbers. And I heard something today that said, actually, when you see those numbers, those synchronistic numbers, really pay attention about what your thoughts are at that moment, because I heard it's at that exact moment that you're manifesting.
Yeah, I agree.
I think Aluna Ash said that. I think she said that when you see those numbers over and over again, pay attention, because you're manifesting at that moment.
Yeah, and it's so funny how often the topic of synchronicities come up, and then sure enough, there you have it, and we have 10:10 on the clock, and Willow, it just hit 11:11 for them. So I don't know.
Oh yeah, because I'm on the East Coast, so it was 11:11.
See,
you're right.
It's right there.
Okay, all
just start looking.
Maybe I just needed to talk to you to get.
Yeah, and keep in mind, you brought it up, not me. You don't
That's
see the
my
numbers.
first 11:11.
There you got it, right there. So just keep an eye out. And they happen just like that. You bring up the topic, and bam, somebody in the chat says 10:10, and then 11:11. You look at the clock, and there you have it. You know.
All right, sweetie. I'm going to let you go so someone else can talk. It was a real pleasure. I want to let you know that I have been listening for so long. I just was too afraid to get involved, and I just always said, I want to call. Whatever you were talking about. I'm like, I got to tell them about this. I got to tell them about that.
I'm glad you did. Yeah, because we have a lot of lurkers. I always tell them that if you don't want to chat, call in sometime, because I know some people might not even figure out where the chat is. I know it took me a minute to figure it out. So, like, chat, what chat are they talking about?
I told you, I don't know how to do any of this stuff. And so I couldn't believe my first time I tried calling in, and you picked up. So it's, again, I believe that synchronicity, it was meant to happen. So
definitely. Well, thank you so much, Cheryl, for calling in.
Thank you.
Don't be a stranger. Keep us updated on your progress, on your synchronicity drive, I should say.
I will. And I'll try and keep, I'll be adding stuff on the chat. I'll be writing in as your shows are on. But you're doing really great work. You've helped me so much over all these hard times. I just want you to know how much you help people.
Well, I appreciate that, but what you should probably do is just look up a video, how to post a video on YouTube, because you can usually just hit go live if you can get Wi-Fi from somewhere, and just do a quick little update. I think it'll be a lot easier than you're expecting. But there's videos for everything, so anything you wonder about, just look it up, because most people figure it out just from watching other YouTube videos. It'd be something that you'll enjoy, I think.
I'll go for it. Yeah, people have been trying to tell me to do a vlog of this journey.
Yeah.
And I've been a little resistant, but maybe I'll try it.
I think you'll be impressed. It wasn't an accident that you came on here and the idea was given to you. A lot of people will enjoy it.
Thank you so, so much. And have a wonderful night.
You too. Lots of love to you. Have fun out there.
Thank you. You too. Good night.
Alrighty. And all out of time. We're going to be back tomorrow. If you're on hold, hang on a second and I'll talk to you. And we will be back tomorrow night with Eileen for the Power of 8 at 8. So please join us there. Have a good one. If you'd like to support the work I do, go to paypal.me/UOTF. Thanks.